Time to rock. How's everyone doing today? Wait,
Good.
We already got
Good.
it. We already got Tovia Singer's biggest fanboy here, Arctic Bass.
Try
with Tovia Singer. Try what?
Yeah. Well,
Try what?
it's good. It's good to be on your channel on time, like we agreed to, showing up when I'm supposed to.
How many times can I apologize, man?
Yeah. Had to do it.
Had to do it. This is my life. It's my life. Hey, so how's everyone doing? We've been. So I think you were the one who showed me the clip of this Lily J copycat, huh?
I did a response to him.
Oh yeah. I saw your response to him.
Yeah, he was doing one on child marriage, and he's like, "Hey, ChatGPT, hey, is child marriage okay?" And like then of course the AI is like, "Yes, alhamdulillah, it is perfectly fine. Muhammad, peace be upon him, did nothing wrong." Like, because we all know that's how AIs talk. They always say peace be upon him when they refer to Muhammad. Completely unprompt, no programming. That's just how they roll.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? And I have to say, man, it's like I don't even know what to do at this point. It's like Dawah was already especially really bad and dumb and stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's well, let me put it this way. And I said this in a video. I said this in a video very recently. But for 13 centuries, Islam spread by the sword and maintained itself by the sword. Then the Ottoman Empire, the main Islamic empire for centuries, lost World War I. And after losing World War I, the caliphate soon fell apart. And then, so for the first time, in a really, really, really long time, the Muslims didn't have their caliphate. And so what happened in the 20th century? Well, at first you had lots of Muslims who just thought to themselves, well, okay, we lost. Didn't work at all. So other people were stronger than us. But then you had the reaction to that from Muslim leaders, which was, no, maybe it's not that Islam is false or that we've lost or something like that. Maybe Allah is testing us, or maybe we weren't devout enough in enforcing Sharia. And then you got the rise of like the Muslim Brotherhood from the Sunni position, and you had like the Iranian Revolution in Shia Islam and so on. But it was, we need to crack down. This is when Allah will bless us. But they still couldn't, They still weren't strong enough to fight and so on. So they focused on preparation, and they prepare for a future where they'll be able to subjugate again through Dawah, trying to go out and win converts, because these are future soldiers and stuff for them. So they focus on Dawah, but they understood that the entire world basically is almost completely ignorant of Islam. People can't tell you the most basic things about Islam, which allowed them to make up absolutely anything they wanted. So this is when they come up with, they can say anything. That's when they would come up with, perfect preservation of the Quran and scientific miracles, and Muhammad's, his character is so perfect, and so on. And that worked for a while. They were winning converts because no one knew anything about Islam, which allowed these guys to say anything they wanted. Well, you get down to the internet. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I got a video coming out on scientific miracles. I think either Friday or Saturday. It's like 5 minutes long, but it's a challenge. So an actual methodology Muslims can use to show scientific miracles in the Quran, because they don't have any. I'm going to give them an actual way to do it. So happy hunting, Muslims. You finally have a way to show us scientific miracles.
Hey, you're a little behind the time there, man, because Hamza Tzortzis, who acknowledges that the argument has been defeated, he actually gave a methodology. So you might want to incorporate that if you haven't seen it. Did you see it? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay.
Nope. I came up with my own. Yeah.
Okay. So his method, because he got embarrassed. He tried using it at an outside like an atheist conference or something like this, and he just got humiliated by an actual scientist, right? The guy got crushed. He's like, "Oh, did you know?" And he got crushed. So this sent him back into his shell like a turtle and stuff. And when he eventually emerged, he said, "Okay, this argument's been refuted, and here's why." But he came up with he said he came up with what you're talking about. Like here's how you could actually argue a successful scientific miracle. He said, one, you'd have to show that it's actually clear what the Quran is saying and that you're not inserting this meaning in there. It actually comes from the Quran. You're not putting it in there. Two, you'd have to show that it is an actual scientific fact that you're dealing with in the world today and not something that might change later. You don't want to come up with support for some theory that later gets debunked, because then you're going to debunk the Quran. And then three, you'd have to show that it's something that couldn't have been known at the time, or Muhammad couldn't have gotten from other people. And he goes through that and he says, and we don't have anything like that. So that's why the argument fails.
Mine's a little different. You'll see. You'll like it. Don't worry. I promise. It's going to be a little different. It's actually, you'll like it though.
That's good. That's good. So anyway, on the topic of dawah, they were able to lie. They were able to lie to people to get them to convert. Well, that started changing with the rise of the internet and the availability of Muslim sources. Because, if you're talking about in 1970, you could get like a translation of the Quran. You weren't going to have, Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, and you definitely weren't going to have easy access to these sources. Whereas now we've got all the sources, and anyone can look things up really, really quickly. So dawah has been crumbling. All their arguments, that's why all the arguments that they were using 10 and 15 and 20 years ago, they're not using anymore at the experienced dawah level. You still see them at the popular level in TikTok and stuff now. They're still using the old arguments that the main dawah guys now have all acknowledged are bogus arguments. They're still using them. They're still using them at the popular level because people haven't caught on. But it's kind of trickling down that these arguments are all terrible and they suck. And so what's happening now, the leaders of Islam have realized that the arguments no longer work with anyone who's informed or who knows. If a dawah guy tells you something, do not trust him. Go look it up, right? So they're looking for people. They're looking for pockets of ignorance where they can find tons of people who are completely ignorant. And that way they can still use their terrible refuted arguments. And so that's why they're focusing on like TikTok. They know it's a bunch of young people who don't know anything about Islam. That's why they're obsessed now with, in the past few years, Lily J, Sneeko, Andrew Tate, popular influencers. Why? It's not because of them. They want access to their followers.
You should have. It's a sad thing you missed Thursday, because when I was talking to the ex-Muslim and his friend, like they said when they go to Speaker's Corner, it's a lot of that same thing. They don't want to talk to anybody who knows what they're talking about. They're going after the ignorant people.
No, that's exactly what happened last year. They run from you. It's to the point where you have the seasoned Muslims who've been there for decades. And if you go up and try to have a conversation with them, they'll run to the police. They'll run to the police and say, police, he's harassing me. Matter of fact, that was with God Logic, because I went there, God Logic was there, but some of the locals did not, some of the regulars at Speaker's Corner didn't know who God Logic was, because he's pretty young. So they didn't know who he was. And so what happened was they started a conversation with him. Mansour had a conversation with him. As soon as he found out that this guy knows what he's talking about, he said, I'm not interested in this conversation. He said, I'm not interested in discussing this stuff. And he left. And then people come and tell God Logic a little later, is like, he's over there talking to a Christian woman on the other side. What did he do? He ran and went over and found someone who doesn't know anything about Islam. And so it's like, this should be important to everyone, because these are not people who actually have confidence in their arguments, right? They don't. They know that this argument, think about it. On Friday, I'm debating Alex O'Connor. That's one of the sharpest atheists on the planet. And why would I debate? Why am I going to debate him? I believe I have arguments that can stand up to scrutiny, right?
Yep.
We don't even see Muslims debating anymore. They don't want to go near anyone. And even the Muslims who debate, they'll debate like Trinity versus Tawheed or something like that. They won't touch Muhammad. They won't touch, is the Quran the word of God? Their scientific miracles, on what planet will these guys step on stage and defend a scientific
miracle? Dude, I've been
miracle?
trying for a long time to get a popular Muslim da'i to debate me on which is better for humanity, Christianity or Islam, because I found a ton of research. I have been turned down so much. We may have finally gotten someone who's kind of like was more popular in the past, not so much as he used to be, but there might be something in the works. But again, it's been very hard to get someone to debate that topic.
And It's they're feeling it, man. They're feeling it. But I mean, think about how desperate you are. We can't step on stage. We'll go if you don't know anything about Islam. If you don't know one fact about Islam, oh yeah, we'd love to tell you about Islam and all the arguments and evidence we have for it. If you actually know to check our references and look things up, we don't want to talk to you. We don't want to talk to you. And all we want to do is find more popular influencers to dupe their followers because they have tons and tons of gullible followers, and that's all we want. That's all we want in life. And I'm looking at that going, it's weird. Like, how can you take your own religion seriously if that's how you are? How I couldn't do that, man. I couldn't be like, oh man, here are all the things I believe, but I need to hide from anyone who knows anything about what I believe because they would destroy me. It's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic.
Exactly.
So anyway. Who's this? Do you know anything? You know anything else about this? What's his channel? Isn't it called like White Muslim, the White Muslim, or something like that?
He's on He's on Instagram. I think he's on TikTok. He's called White Muslim Guy. He talks about in his videos. He's got 2 wives. He lives in Dubai. So
he looks like he's 15, man.
Yeah,
looks like
he doesn't have a beard. His second wife doesn't wear a hijab. I know that. Yeah, I wonder why he converted to Islam. I can't imagine anything he could have gotten out of that. It's him and his 2 wives in Dubai. Yep.
So anyway, now this guy, I haven't been following it. Based on what you know, his approach came after Lily J, right? You didn't see this guy before Lily J.
I'm pretty sure. But I mean, he's very ignorant on a lot of topics. I have another video I already recorded, a little response to him, where he's like, Christians, why does the Bible say you can blaspheme God but not Jesus? Like, why can that? He said, like, why can that be forgiven but not blasphemy against God? I'm like, well, it doesn't say that. It says blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. I mean, he gets like basic things wrong. He could just check up, and yeah, pretty bad.
And what's fascinating to me is like he's just clearly his new approach is just, oh, this worked for Lily J, therefore I'll do it. And it's the same thing
To be fair, he's got a ton of videos where he doesn't use ChatGPT, but he had like a couple of weeks ago where he just went through and was doing ChatGPT in all of them. So it was like a bunch I could grab from. But like lately, more of his videos have not been ChatGPT. So he was like on that.
Oh, that's good. Maybe
for a while. And
maybe people started making fun of him. Yeah, maybe. And even Lily J, she got caught for it, right? Like she got community noted saying, this is not the answer that ChatGPT would give unless you have manipulated it into giving this answer, like you programmed it to. Absolutely. And so she got busted on that. But I mean, that's her entire grift, right? They give her a Dawah script, then she gets ChatGPT to give the Islamic answers on all the Dawah script that's been destroyed 20 years ago, and just pretends to be shocked the entire time. Like you literally just programmed the thing to give you this answer, and then you're super shocked. And then you had this little dork doing the exact same thing. It's just it's
and I pointed out my reply to him. Yeah, you won't get answers like Muhammad, peace be upon him, unless you've pre-programmed it to already speak like a Muslim. Yep. So you can do things like ChatGPT answer as a Sunni Muslim, and it will go affirmed, and then you can start asking it questions. And it will, it's been pre-programmed. So they're lying because Dawah is deception.
Yeah, and that actually just happened the other day when I was live with AP. We once again, but he figured out what he had to do to get ChatGPT to give the answer that it gave Lily Dawah. And yeah, you had to actually take it step by step through and to get it to give this answer. And so anyway, it's just this. It's like we already knew Dawah was fake and Dawah was deception. And it's like they prove us right. We'll get ChatGPT to say stuff and pretend like we're just randomly asking it questions, and that this compilation of all human knowledge that's been programmed into it will spit out these Islamic answers because Islam's the truth. And it's like you guys know you're being manipulative and deceptive. And you do it anyway, and it's fine in your religion, and your own people won't call you out. If I saw you doing that, I would call you out. I'd say, stop doing this, man. It's massively deceptive. Stop it. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Quit telling ChatGPT to give Christian answers and then pretending to be shocked by them. Do not do that, man. So anyway, This is Dawah. This is the evolution of Dawah, ladies and gentlemen. We are now to lying and manipulating and pretending that AI is giving answers, all because there are still people stupid enough to fall for that, and that's Dawah in 2025. I don't think this is going to last very long. I'll make a prediction here. I don't think Lily J will be able to keep this up till the end of the year because people have caught on. She's been exposed. She's been community noted. She's a grifter. You can look back. So she was.
This sensational stuff, it'll be popular for a little while and then it always dies and people move on to the next sensationalist nonsense. Like content like you or I put out is more evergreen. Like people go back to I have people go back to videos I put out like 5-7 years ago to get like sources or studies I've cited. But when you're just doing this sensationalist nonsense, it gets popular and then people move, from Hawk Tua to Lily J to the next crazy person who's going to come down the road in a couple months.
So anyway, it's pathetic, ladies and gentlemen, and we just want people to be aware of it. And this should actually be good because we're going to watch some of these short clips that are being used to promote Islam and using ChatGPT and so on, and would be pretty easy, and anyone's welcome to do this. We're going to play a little video, and then we're going to respond to the video and see if it's good or not. And then, but it'd be really easy if anyone wants to put them on Twitter or something like that. We'll be going through several videos, so you can always cut out the little section that'll be our response to the video. I'll take a couple of super chats real quick, and then we'll jump into probably. Want to look at the guy's clip? We'll probably start with the Lily J clip just to show how obvious it is that this guy is just copying Lily J. It's so pathetic. I mean, of all the people you would want to copy for your Dawah, you go to the single fakest person I've ever met I haven't met her, but I've ever come across in my entire life. Just someone who exudes fakeness. Everything about her is fake. But we'll see. Hey, David and Mike, I have a logical explanation of the Trinity. Is there a way I can email or message you that would give my explanation an honest critique and tell me if it's heretical? So he's asking basically if his explanation is
you can
heretical.
message me through the website. I'll probably be pretty busy. I don't know if I have time to get to it. I would recommend you find a university professor that works on that. Have him look over it first, because he'll probably be able to help you far better than we will. We're very busy, but you can message to me through the website, and if I have time, I'll get to it.
Yeah. Also, and you can find someone who's written like books on the Trinity or something like that, and email them at their school. You can find their address and stuff and say, because I'm just saying there are people who would know significantly better than I do what is and is not heretical. God bless. Keep it up. 1 Peter 3:14. Don't forget the 15. Did D-Wood forget to set his alerts again, or are they hiding from CP? Still AP's fault for being late? No, that was all me. I was doing other stuff.
That was Allah. Allah kept us late. He is the best of tardiness.
Yeah, so I was kind of getting my stuff together for the last second. Good evening, gentlemen. Been reading Matt Fradd's little book and praying rosary. It's so comforting. Good. Thank you all for what you do and helping me back on the path to Christ. Much love, Angela.
Good.
AP's AP recorded a show with him, so that should be out soon. Matt Fradd. Lily J. Chat JP. No, it's not GPT. It's Chat JPT. It's stored in the balls. Hey, we might need to do a big thing because she had her. She did ask people for scientific facts in the Quran.
Oh Lord!
And then I gave a quick little response, and everyone's like, "You're lying! No, this has been debunked." It's like, no, it hasn't. No, it has nothing I put on there. In fact, the ones I put on there are the clearest scientific statements in the Quran, and they're all completely wrong. They go to all these other passages, which aren't clearly saying anything, and they'll just force a meaning into it and stuff. But we might need to do we should probably do a nice big show.
Dawah means that Muslims get to interpret the vague passage as specific, and the specific passage is vague. That's how it works.
Yep, that's how they do it. The clear passages, the passages that are clear in their meaning, they're all wrong. And they say, oh, but they don't mean what they say. Then they go to passages that are vague, or that if you read them in context, it's saying something completely different. And then they force a meaning into it. And it's just pathetic. Hello, Daily Wood and Inspiring Dawah. Dawah is always inspiring.
Dare you?
So has anyone come up with the channel? Has any Muslim come up with the channel name Inspiring Dawah? Because that would be fun.
Not yet. Not yet.
David, what happened to your hair? Why has it been cut? Because I'm about to head out to a conference, and my hair was all sloppy in the back, so I just told him to trim it up. Sorry for being a bit more dark in the past days. The online war with the Abduls is hard enough, but now the online Americans using Christianity
Good God, how long
to go after Israel makes me think that there is no hope for you guys in the near future, and that's a depressing thought. The Yuri Bezmenov interview got stuck in my head too hard. It's painful to watch my two favorite countries, England and U.S., go down so hard, so quickly. Divided societies crumble always.
Don't worry. Read Eric Kaufman's book, Shall the Religious Inherit the Earth? It will be fine. Don't worry.
We will be fine. We will be fine. We will be fine. And this is a lesson that AP's been learning recently. Don't take the online chatter of a bunch of losers online as an accurate sampling of what is actually mainstream. You have a bunch of people who can't say what they want in public because they'd get laughed out of the room, and so they all click up online. And you're pulling from a population of the entire world, like the Groypers and stuff like that. You're pulling from a population of people around the world and stuff like that to get these numbers of a few thousand guys and stuff. But anyway, it's a sad, pathetic little group in reality.
Yes, it is. Yes.
I admire you too, IP, and you both have helped strengthen my faith. Keep doing the Lord's work. Powerful. Love you, David. Keep up the good work, IP. Do you guys have any recommendations for debating Shia Muslims? Also, the main differences in comparison to Sunnis when debating Shias.
Not my area.
Yeah, I've debated Shias a couple times over the years. It was kind of a long time ago, but I also knew that I don't know almost everything I study in Islam, apart from the Quran, is Sunni sources, just because they're the vast majority. It's like 85 to 90% of the Muslim world.
Do most Sunnis consider the Shia to be heretical?
Heretical, yes. Also, whether they're non-Muslims is a different issue. Some consider them Muslims, but like it's like degree of perspective. It's you're all wrong, but are you just wrong? Are you in the heretical category? Are you in the like you're not even real Muslim category?
Yeah.
And it tends to be connected to how many you actually know. In other words, if you don't know any Shias and you're in a completely Sunni, then they massively think of them as like heretical or apostates or something like that. Whereas if you know a bunch of Shias and so on, then it tends to change. But as far as like debating Shias, if you're planning on doing it long term, then you would want to get their I have their commentaries. I have their Hadith, Al-Kafi, and their commentaries and so on. But I've never really studied them. So when I'm talking to a Shia or even debating a Shia, I tend to just go Quran. I just use my arguments based on the Quran because they're granting that. And then maybe specific issues I'll go to a particular Hadith. But so it's up to you. How much time do you want to spend on it? If you want to dedicate a lot of time to it, then yes, read their sources. If you're just, hey, what do I do? Because it's a Shia and I don't know about their sources. We'll just go Quran. Let's see. Where was that? Oh, here we go.
I don't know.
How was Apologeticon this year, IP?
Davidless.
So it was better?
No, there's other boring people there. It was horrible.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. If you believe in Islam, why spread a false version? Doesn't that defeat the purpose and create false converts? Yeah, you'd think so. There seems to be a level in which they believe that this is true and that Allah really wants them to spread it by any means necessary, and you're doing good for people even if you lie to them.
Yeah, the ends justify the means. It's all about power, and if they can get the power and control, then Allah will bless them. They can use whatever tactics they can to get there, as long as they get the power and the control that Allah wants them to have, so they can subjugate the world. That's the point.
And it's just weird because, I mean, the point here is if you have to constantly lie and make things up, make up arguments and, the sign, like if you're a Dawah guy and you have to run from everyone who knows the Dawah script about the scientific miracles and preservation stuff, then these are terrible arguments. If you thought they were good arguments, you'd be happy to stand up for them. But they won't. They don't have any arguments now that they're willing to put on the table against a person who knows what the argument is. And so it's the real issue is like, so really, at the end of the day, that you don't have any good arguments. Why are you taking this seriously? But anyway, I don't know. It's some weird stuff. It is some weird stuff. I don't actually believe I have any reason to believe this stuff, and yet I'm going to lie for it to try and get it to help me subjugate the world with it. Wild
Power, stuff. Power. It blinds people.
I think the reason, and I've been saying this for a couple of years, that I'm predicting that Islam is basically going to devolve into like a gang. It's going to be a big gang. You're going to join it because there's a bunch of people, and you're like joining a global gang for your own protection against it, and that it's not going to have anything to do with this being true or from God or something. They'll still claim it, but that's just like part of the price of admission into the gang, and that's what it's looking like. Let's see. I think the reason Mo didn't marry more women until his first wife died is because she'd have taken his allowance, and I predict Just Pearly Things is next. No, I believe that's correct. She was older. He treated her like his mom, so she's almost like a mother figure to him. He would, like, when he's running from something, he would run to her to protect him. It's like, what kind of 40-year-old runs to his wife? What kind of 40-year-old runs to his wife for protection? He did. So, yeah, while he was with her, it seems like she had a degree of influence. Which is morally good, which is more morally good, Moses or Muhammad? Moses by like 1,000,000 times. Even though Moses did all sorts of things I would disagree with, there's no comparison. IP, don't stoop, have a seat with back support. No, he loves that thing.
No, it's good for my back.
Yeah, he loves his dumb chair. Herman who? Hey, what's up, Herman? Jackson Hill, I can't decide which is my favorite argument against Islam, the Islamic dilemma, or the fact that the Quran confuses Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Maryam. I like Islamic dilemma better of those two.
Mm-hmm.
But they're both good. Hey, IP, also D-Wood, I sent a TikTok by Dr. Blitz saying the cosmological constant was done, and some inferred from the evidence a cyclical or different model of eternal universe thoughts. Love you both. Keep it up.
Yeah, it's highly speculative. There's no known physics that could reverse the expansion of the universe. And the cosmological constant, as far as I'm aware, is not done. I've seen no breaking news on that. So this sounds a little speculative, and don't believe everything you see on TikTok.
Yeah, you're saying, that's usually a good little hint there. I saw it on TikTok. Now, that's fine. That's fine. People can share good information on TikTok. People can share completely ridiculous nonsense on TikTok, which is why it's becoming popular for Dawah. So yeah, just always check your stuff. Here's one for you, IP. Do you guys think Islam seems to make people poor? You've done studies on how things
I've
impact.
seen no correlations, any sort of positive associations between Islam and poverty. No, I don't think it does. I mean, you have Muslims that are rich, you have Muslims that are poor. If anything, it can correlate to lower rates of literacy and education for women, which will affect, of course, economic progress. Because when more people are able to read and they're educated, that creates economic progress for any nation. And Islam is positively associated with lower rates of education for women. So maybe in that way, but not poverty directly, no.
Lily J is old as my great-grandfather. Yep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. They start young in Islam, so Lily J is really old. Can you guys debunk Joseph Smith polygamy deniers like Still Mormon? Very deceptive tactics they are using. No, I've never been terribly interested in Mormonism, so.
No, Mormonism's not promoting child marriage today, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, and I tend to focus on whatever the biggest danger is, and I fling myself at that. And it's just not.
I did a stream last night on the Book of Abraham with an Egyptologist, but I mean that's because Cameron created a bunch of chatter. So I was like, oh, I can do the stream on this. But I mean, like, to deny that Joseph Smith was a polygamist, it's like you're basically going against the overwhelming consensus of experts. He was a polygamist.
Yeah, that would be weird stuff. And by the way, no one, when I just said, hey, I focus on this, I'm not telling you not to focus on this. My point is we're Christians are a body, and that allows us to focus on different things. And I think basically, people should focus on between 1 and 3 things if they want to do them well. So, yep, we do need Christians focused on cults and so on. I'm just, I'm not qualified to speak on Mormon issues. When are you going to address the world takeover plot of the Wingalings in a full live stream? It's an extremely dangerous rise, and they are growing. Sometimes you have to let things grow before you smack them down. That way it's a much more epic fall. ChatGPT did give me peace be upon him without programming. Will also tell jokes about Jesus, but not about Momo to Chomo. Pure secular bias. Yeah, that's another thing they do put. And I tried this with, I've never tried ChatGPT, but I did it with Grok. And yes, they were given some seriously biased stuff. And I'm not sure if that's because they're programmed to give the biased answers, or if it's just because as they're drawing out all this information, they're using all the stupid Dawah articles and stuff like this that have been put out over
I mean,
years.
like, here, let me just share my screen. Like, no, like, was Muhammad? No peace be upon him. Like,
you want me to put that on the screen?
Yeah, people can just see it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah, go ahead, put it up.
Let's see. What if I put this as a separate? Oh, there we go.
See, Muhammad, so and so, no peace be upon him. So if someone else was getting that I mean, then it just shows the variety of ChatGPT and why it's so unreliable. Like, you know, you use it to help you with research. It should not be your source, though.
Weird stuff. Lily J will last as long as Muhammad with Diha al-Kalbi Amin Jibril. Yeah. I don't think it's going to last. And guys, that's what a real grifter finds a grift, finds people to manipulate and take advantage of, does that for a while until they catch on, and then moves on to another grift. That's what the person does. That's what a grifter does. And my prediction is that's what she's going to do. I do not think she will make it a year with this the rest of the year with this ChatGPT nonsense. Dawah Tua. We got the Dawah Tua girl. Hey, maybe that's a good nickname. The Dawah Tua girl. Been trying to have honest conversations about Islam with woke lefty family members and only get Christian whataboutisms. Thoughts on how to approach? Yes.
That means they're admitting you're right. Anyone who resorts to whataboutism is admitting you're right. Like, because they can't refute you, so they're just saying, well, like, maybe there's some other stuff, so it's not that bad. If someone's resorting to whataboutism, they're admitting you're right. So just point that out.
Hi, David, former friend of Nabil, Michelle, Q, and student at Oxford Uni who emailed you a while back about idea to reach Muslims here in England. Did you receive? Should I resend? Just not interested. Does not ring a bell. I get several hundred emails a day, so I miss them. And if I ever miss one for a couple of days, I will probably never see it again because it gets buried. So, yeah, you can resend that. Carly says, ChatGPT. Fine, you got it right. ChatGPT. Thanks for exposing this grifter. It's so fun, though. Dihal Kalbi was gooning all over Muhammad. I still don't know what some of these young slang words mean. And I don't want to know. Just learned Ibn Kathir confirmed that from Adnan to Ishmael lineage doesn't exist. Yeah. Momo's biography, volume 1, and that Al-Tabari confirms it was Isaac on Hill. Oh, yeah. Yep. You have that. Yeah, you have all kinds of differences like that in the Muslim sources, and yeah, they got problems with the genealogy. Yeah. Was there a distinct lack of weirdos with flowers in their hair this year's IP?
No idea what that's about.
Was there a distinct lack of weirdos with flowers in their hair this year's IP?
Oh, maybe at the last conference. Yeah, I didn't see anybody there with
that. Do you think Lily J will convert? If it helps her. I mean, it's going to be whatever she does, it's going to be fake. Absolutely. Yeah. She's fake from top to bottom. Of course they lie. If it isn't true, how can they beat their wives and marry children? Imagine letting your wife talk instead of using a whiteboard. I know. Isn't that weird? Stooping damages the neck irreversibly. God bless. You got that? Yep. I was hoping to see D Wood at the con, but IP and what do you mean? We're based.
Thanks.
Good. Thanks. After growing up in Scientology, Islam seems more cult than religion. They both share many of the same attributes, but Islam is much worse. I agree.
Powerful.
Scientology will help get you some open doors into Hollywood, but Islam is here to subjugate us all. On the cosmological argument, a recent study suggested there was evidence that it has changed over time, all to do with crisis in cosmology.
Yeah, I mean, there's recent research showing that it might, but I mean, it's still speculative. We need, like, the papers like this come out all the time. We need more data before we can, overturn, years of cosmology.
Yeah, and you don't want to like jump on every, oh my goodness, here's a new thing. Yeah. Shalom, nerds. Miss me yet? This is from Dark Tovia. Pretty funny. And we got B here. And thoughts on the shroud. If the X-rays get confirmed that it's first century, confirmed that it is Yeshua. I would say if something gets confirmed that it's first century, that significantly increases the probability that
for sure.
it is Jesus.
Let's wait and see. Wait and see.
Yeah, and I posted a video, I think, last year where I had an interview with Habermas and so on, and so you can check that out if you haven't seen it. But Habermas shares his thoughts, and he's more confident than I am that it's authentic. So I give kind of a different response. But you got Habermas, who's written multiple books on it and who was studying it for a very long time, and then I kind of tagged just my view on the end. And finally here, I've experienced how oppressive a lot of Islam sympathetics are. Police don't help. Council don't help. They're all hypocrites. Christians are being zip. You sound like you're in the UK because that's you've just given an accurate assessment of how everyone in the UK sounds right now.
Just keep fighting. Don't stop.
And listen.
You can't give in.
And listen, B, follow the trajectory, right? Islam was expanding, then got crushed in World War I. Now it's Dawah, but it's all lying. And now Dawah's getting exposed. They're dealing with what they call the avalanche of apostasy because apostasy rates have been skyrocketing. Yeah. What do we need to do? What's up?
Oh, no. Luke Barnes, great physicist. Love his work. He just said in the chat about that cosmological constant thing, very speculative. Just so you know, physicists here saying it's speculative. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, I was just looking for the comment. How long ago was it?
Just a couple minutes, seconds ago. I don't know. I saw it there.
Oh, there's like a million comments here, man. It's like a trillion
comments. I saw it. Trust me, I saw it.
Okay,
anyway,
okay.
We can move on.
No, I was gonna stick it on the screen. We'll be okay though. We'll be okay. So
we get to the video.
Yeah, it's just weird. The fast super chat's coming in. Okay, going to do these last two, and then we're going to jump into the video. Thoughts on Shamoon insulting Christians? Jenko Niga, D-Wood IP are fighting the good fight against Islam, but Sam is just being divisive and proud.
Pray for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I pray that he opens his eyes to doesn't want to do any more of that.
Yeah, Palomita, just so you know, I'm not a fan of going around to other channels and saying, could you complain and talk about this person on this other channel? But yeah, some approaches just aren't effective, and so, but I tend to I'm to the point where I'd rather just ignore it than argue about it. David, IP makes you look small. No offense. Love y'all. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yes. All right. Ready to jump into a video.
That
was a lot of super chats for the very beginning.
That's what
let's see. Lily J. All right, let's do a short one from Lily J, and then we'll watch the ones from our new friend. So here's Lily J. Everyone ready?
ChatGPT, I have a question. Does the Quran promote violence? Please.
Does the Quran promote violence? And she's going to say, please. She's going to say, please respond in 20 seconds.
Violence? Please answer me in 20 seconds.
The Quran does not promote violence. It emphasizes peace, justice, and compassion. Islam, meaning peace,
really
includes verses about self-defense, but these are context-specific and not a general call for violence. The overarching message of the Quran is one of peace, and that's how most Muslims understand and practice it.
Wow, my mind is blown. What do you...
You guys get that? My mind is blown. I programmed it to give that answer. And my mind is blown. What do you guys think? All right, let's go back to what this said once again. Let's just watch it again. It's only 30 seconds long. But what it actually said, and then we'll look at what the Quran says, and we'll figure out why Lily J is basically saying that ChatGPT, programmed to give this answer, is a more reliable source of information about Islam than the Quran and the Hadith. Isn't that wild? You can say
now.
What's that?
You just look here. Put my screen. Go to ChatGPT. If you actually ask it, generally speaking, what does it say? It will try to give you this unbiased answer. That a lot of this is based on interpretation.
Let's see. What do you have here?
Yeah, this is what it actually tells you. It does not give the Lily J answer. This is what it gives you. Something like this. Like, well, it mentions warfare.
Go ahead and read that real quick, because that's you asked the same question she asked, right?
Yeah, the Quran, like many religious texts, contains passages that have been interpreted in different ways. Some verses discuss warfare, but they are often in the context of self-defense or historical conflicts. At the same time, the Quran emphasizes peace, justice, and mercy. For example, peace, justice, you see there. While some verses do mention warfare, they're typically tied to specific historical contexts rather than being open-ended commands for aggression. So you can just see, the difference.
Yeah, I have to say, that's not the Lily J answer. That's better than the Lily J answer. Also, completely wrong. And so I'm trying to figure this out. I don't know, again, if it's the programmers and they program it to sort of give these really friendly to Islam answers, or if ChatGPT is basically taking, in its search for information, is taking all the Dawah stuff into account.
It does often. So yeah, I even did it the other day when I was preparing for my stream on Mormonism. I did some stuff on the Book of Abraham, and I got these answers, and I'm like, oh, interesting. And I looked at the sources, and it's pulling from Mormon sites. And then when I had the Egyptologist David Falk on, he said, no, this is actually wrong. That's actually wrong. That kind of stuff. So you'll get that. It'll pull from sites that are biased, like Islamic sources, Mormon or Christian sources. It can be biased in that way because it's just gathering information from popular websites for the most part.
All right, let's check something out. Hey, it's the Quran, everyone. Now, guys, you tell me, because it was saying no, Islam only it's just fighting in self-defense. Islam promotes peace. Islam promotes peace. Fighting is self-defense. Okay. We have the passage of the Quran here, right? So this is going to be about fighting, and so obviously it's going to be self-defense, right? Right, everyone?
You see?
All right, so we'll start in verse 28 of Surah 9. O you who believe, truly the pagans are unclean, so let them not, after this year of theirs, approach the sacred mosque. So pagans, the Kaaba was, before Islam took over, a pagan center of worship. And so Muslims took it over, and after they took it over, at first, the pagans were allowed to take the pilgrimage, continue taking the pilgrimage, and then Surah 9, verse 28 came down saying, nope, the pagans are not allowed to come here anymore. And Muhammad's tribe, the Quraysh, were worried that this is going to hurt their trade dealings with the pagans, because you just basically said, don't come here anymore. And so they're worried about this. And so they're coming to Muhammad, what are we going to do? And Muhammad's response was, hey, Allah can enrich you. So let's go ahead and read this again. O you who believe, truly the pagans are unclean, so let them not, after this year of theirs, approach the sacred mosque. And if you fear poverty, soon will God enrich you, if he wills, out of his bounty, for God is all-knowing, all-wise. So the pagans can't come anymore. You're worried about money, but don't worry, because Allah will enrich you. It's verse 28. Really, how is Allah going to enrich us? How? How's he gonna make up for the money we're losing? Next verse. Fight those who believe not in God, nor the last day, nor hold that forbidden, which hath been forbidden by God and his apostle, nor acknowledge the religion of truth, even if they are from the people of the book, that's Jews and Christians, until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. You guys got that so far? Hey, the pagans aren't allowed here anymore, but we're going to lose money. Well, if you're worried about losing money, don't worry. Allah will enrich you. How's he going to enrich you? By commanding you to go out and fight anyone who rejects Islam until they submit to you and pay you jizya. They pay you money. They pay you tribute money. So, guys, is this about self-defense? Show me. We're going to keep reading this passage. Show me one word about self-defense. Why are you fighting these people? Look at just verse 29. What are the requirements fighting someone who do not believe in God? That's actually Allah. So if you don't believe in what Islam teaches about Allah, you don't believe in Allah, you don't believe in the last day, you don't hold that forbidden which hath been forbidden by Allah and his apostle. In other words, if your religion allows you to drink wine, Islam doesn't, then there's a command to fight you. Nor acknowledge the religion of truth. So you're not a Muslim, even if they're from the people of the book, until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. Where does that verse say one word about people who are attacking you? Where is there anything about these people attacking you, marching out against you with an army? What does it say about fighting these people? It says they believe, they have different religious beliefs and different religious practices. The command is fight those who do not believe, not fight people who are attacking you. Right? But let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. Because the question that follows up here would be, well, why are we attacking the Jews and Christians? Aren't they the people of the book? And so, nope, you got Surah 9, verse 30. Justification for fighting Jews and Christians. The Jews call Uzair, that's Ezra, a son of God, and the Christians call Christ the son of God. That is a saying from their mouth. In this, they but imitate what the unbelievers of old used to say, God's curse be on them, how they are deluded away from the truth. So the justification for fighting Jews and Christians is what? That we're attacking? That we've got a military campaign going on? No, it's Jews call Ezra son of God and Christians call Christ son of God. That's the justification for fighting us. But is there anything else we're doing? Verse 31. They take their priests and their anchorites to be their lords in derogation of Allah, and they take as their Lord Christ the son of Mary, yet they were commanded to worship but one God. There is no God but he. Praise and glory to him. Far is he from having the partners they associate with him. Have you seen yet anything about us attacking them? Have you seen one word about us launching a military campaign? Is that what this is about? Everything here, every justification for fighting is about our religious beliefs and practices. Verse 32, fain would they extinguish God's light with their... Did you catch it? Fain would they extinguish God's light with their mouths. How are you extinguishing God's light with your mouth? By calling Jesus the Son of God, or by calling Ezra the Son of God. It's what we say. It's what we say. This is condemning us for our speech. Fain would they extinguish God's light with their mouths, but God will not allow, but that his light should be perfected, even though the unbelievers may detest it. So he's going to silence what we say with our mouths. Verse 33, this is the end of the section. It is he who hath sent his apostle with guidance and the religion of truth to proclaim it over all religion, even though the pagans may detest it. We just went through the entire passage. This is the entire passage starting from verse 28, which gives the command to stop the pagans from taking the pilgrimage to Mecca. And then as a way to make money, a money-making scheme, fight those who do not believe in Allah. And then we have all the explanations for why you're fighting them. What are the conditions for fighting them? Why are you fighting these people? Everything in the entire passage is about people's beliefs and practices, the beliefs and practices of the Jews and Christians. And it's because of our beliefs and practices that you fight us. So tell me, how is this self-defense? Self-defense against any other religious beliefs, and you have to get them out of the world and exterminate them? Okay, if that's what you mean by self-defense, you could argue that it's self-defense. But as far as this being a defense against a military force coming out against you, not one word, guys. So you have to say, if this is about self-defense, then Allah is the absolute worst communicator who's ever existed in the history of forever. If he wants to say, hey, only fight in self-defense, and it comes out, fight those people who call Jesus the Son of God. Okay, then you're a terrible, terrible, terrible communicator. And so if we take Lily J seriously, we have to conclude that Allah is the absolute, hands down, bar none, worst communicator who has ever existed.
For sure. For sure.
Everyone agree?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty clear. I've seen Muslims try to wrestle with that and say that it refers to like specific context stuff. But I mean, why doesn't the verses mention that context?
Yeah.
Because it can be very easily taken out of context. So if this is the eternal speech of Allah, he's a horrible communicator, because you have all sorts of terrorist groups using that as their basis for going around and attacking all sorts of Christians and Jews.
And guys, it's just interesting because they lower the bar for Allah, who claims to be the best communicator, right? In other words, Muslims would not accept that. If they actually want to believe that it's just a call for self-defense, if they actually want to believe that, they would not accept that level of horrible communication from anyone else. In other words, if the president of the United States comes out tomorrow and says, we will fight those who believe in Allah, the Muslim world will lose their minds. And suppose he came out later and says, no, I just mean self-defense. I'm only talking about particular ones who are attacking us. You'd be like, then you should have said that. You don't say this general blanket statement, we're going to fight those who believe in Allah. Okay, well, if Muslims would demand that level of clarity from a human ruler, how can Allah say, fight those who do not believe? And they just, what he really means is only fight in self-defense. It's like Allah had all eternity. The Quran is eternal. Allah had all eternity to have the Quran exactly like he wanted. And when he decided what he wanted that command to be, it was fight those who do not believe. And you say, what he really means is fight in self-defense. Okay, well, like he couldn't say it like that?
The power of dawah will open your eyes and you'll see it. That must be how that happens. You need dawah to tell you how to read it.
Yeah, it's just amazing that Allah needs his meaning translators who, for some reason, always say he means the exact opposite of what he says. It's weird. Let's look at a hadith real quick. Check this out. This is Sahih Muslim 22. Guys, tell me if this sounds like self-defense. Does this sound like self-defense? It has been narrated on the authority of Abdullah ibn Umar that the Messenger of Allah said, so this is Muhammad, I've been commanded to fight against people till they what? Till they stop attacking you? Till they stop stabbing you? Till they stop persecuting you? What does he say? I've been commanded to fight against who? Aggressors? Who? No, people. That you can't get more general than this. I've been commanded to fight against people till they testify that there is no God but Allah, that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and they establish prayer and pay zakat. And if they do it, their blood and property are guaranteed protection on my behalf, except when justified by law, and their affairs rest with Allah. So we looked at what Allah says. This is what Muhammad says. Muhammad says he's been commanded to fight against who? People, till they do what? Till they stop attacking me. No, till they believe in Islam and confess that there's no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. This is forced conversion. But no, because ChatGPT. Come on. Are you joking? So guys, this is the situation.
Our children are going to laugh at us for like falling for ChatGPT stuff. Those stupid people in the 2020 just thought they could ask ChatGPT anything and give him right answers. It'll happen in like 20 years. You watch.
Pretty wild. But I mean, think about this, right? Because, I mean, if you were a serious Muslim, and you know what the Quran says, and Lily J can just, hey, ChatGPT, and give the answer that's the opposite of what the Quran says. Kind of depends. If you're glad that she's deceiving people to dupe them into thinking Islam is okay, then you say, oh, good. But if you actually take the stuff seriously and you don't want your religion misrepresented, every video she posts is a complete massive misrepresentation of Islam. And so this is wild stuff. And so Lily J, you got ChatGPT to say that no, Islam does not promote violence. It only allows fighting in self-defense. We just look clear, indisputable commands from Allah and Muhammad to fight what is called offensive jihad. Offensive jihad. See, Lily J, in a nutshell, here's what you really have. Jihad proceeds in stages. If Muslims are too weak to fight, they only make up like 1% or 2% of the population, they can't hope to win a physical confrontation, they're taught to promote peace and tolerance and to pretend that Islam is peaceful, like you're doing right now. So whoever is telling you to make these videos or paying you to make these videos, that's their goal right now. They're focusing, hey, we're in stage 1 over there, so that's what we need to do. But in Islam, you have stage 1. If you're a tiny fraction of the population, don't fight, promote peace, because that's in the best interest of the Muslim community. Later on, if you're stronger, you make up like 20 or 30% of the population, you can actually fight, but you're not strong enough to dominate and subjugate the rest of the population. You fight defensive jihad. Someone's persecuting you or even criticizing your religion or something like that, you can fight, but you're not subjugating the population. And so that's self-defense in Islam. But that's not the end. Once you make up the most powerful force in an area, you subjugate it, and you subjugate everyone. And you fight them, and you force them to pay the jizya. That's directly from the Muslim sources. And if you get ChatGPT to say something else, you're just a deceiver. The question is, why? Is it worth it? Is it worth, whatever money you're getting, is it worth lying to all of your fans and keeping them in a state of ignorance about an ideology that calls for the subjugation of the entire world?
Yeah. Absolutely. That's what it's about. money.
Now, your little buddy, it's weird. I don't want to keep calling him white Muslim because people are going to think I'm just calling him white Muslim when that's actually his name. That's actually his like channel name is like white Muslim guy or something like that. He asked ChatGPT, I think the same question in one of these videos.
Yeah, same thing on violence. Yep, he's got one on violence.
All right, let's go ahead and watch his. Let's see if ChatGPT may have given the same answer because he may have programmed it exactly like she did. Let's see.
Hey ChatGPT, does Islam promote violence?
No, Islam does not promote violence. The Quran teaches peace, justice, and the sanctity of life. While some verses mention fighting, they are tied to self-defense in historical contexts, not as a general command. Islam forbids harming innocent people, and the word Islam itself comes from the root word for peace, salam.
Share this with an Islamophobe that needs peace, inshallah.
That's why I brought it for you, because he said to share it with an Islamophobe. So I had to bring it to you because he told me to.
And Islam shares a root with a word that means peace. Islam means submission. Submission. You submit. You submit to it. And if you want to connect it to peace, you get peace through mindless submission to everything Muhammad says. And that if you don't, then you get no peace. What did this guy say?
Does Islam promote violence, is what he said.
Does Islam promote violence?
Now, you put up the Quran verses. Let me show this study I have here.
One second. Let's just recap real quick. I'm not going to go through the entire passage again, but I will just look. I will just look once again at Surah 9, verse 29. See it at the top there, ladies and gentlemen? What is this command? Because ChatGPT just said, no, Islam is only about peace. What does this say? Fight those who believe not. Is this fight people who are attacking you? Fight people who are marching against you? Fight people who are trying to destroy you? Is it any of that? Is this fight people who are attacking you? No. Fight those who believe not. This is about fighting people who believe something different from you. And just in case you're wondering, well, when it says fight, maybe it means peacefully discuss things. Maybe it doesn't mean actually like going out and fighting with swords and stuff. That's Surah 9, verse 29. Surah 9, verse 111 defines exactly what Allah means by fighting in his way. There you have it in the middle of the screen. Surah 9, verse 111. Surely Allah has bought of the believers their persons and their property for this, that they shall have the garden. They fight in Allah's way, so they slay and are slain. You slay until you get slain.
No, David, that's referring to what drag queens do. They slay.
They
slay.
That's what it means. That's what it means. Now we got it.
Yeah, that's when Muhammad was walking around with Al-Kabi in his child bride's 90s, they were slaying. That's what that's referring to.
And we have here Sahih Muslim number 22. Muhammad said, what? I have been commanded to fight against people till they testify that there is no God but Allah, that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and they establish prayer and pay zakat. And if they do it, notice if they don't do it, then you're still fighting them. If they do what? Testify that there's no God but Allah, Muhammad is the messenger, they establish prayer, pay zakat. If they do it, their blood and property are guaranteed protection on my behalf, except when justified by law, and their affairs rest with Allah. Guys, this is Muhammad saying he's been commanded to fight people. We know what fighting in the cause of Allah means, slaying until you get slain. Where is the self-defense here? What is the basis for fighting people? They disagree with you. They have different beliefs. And so you fight them to make them believe. This is forced conversion. This is violent, forced conversion. On what planet does a Dawah clown using ChatGPT think that ChatGPT is a greater authority on Islam than Allah and Muhammad? Allah in the Quran. fight those who do not believe in Allah. Muhammad in the Hadith, I've been commanded to fight against people till they testify that there is no God but Allah, that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. So if this actually means what ChatGPT says, no, Islam's all about peace. Islam's all about peace and justice, never fighting against anyone because of what they believe, then ChatGPT is basically saying that Allah and Muhammad are the worst communicators who have ever existed. And for some reason, they say something but mean the exact opposite. That's what you're telling us. So you're telling us that ChatGPT just called Allah and Muhammad the two worst communicators who ever existed because they keep saying the exact opposite of what they mean, which means they have some sort of Tourette's syndrome.
Powerful.
All right, you want that on the screen?
Yep. This is, does Islam promote violence? Well, I mean, like, here's the thing. We could just armchair science this and say, well, no, it doesn't. But what does the actual research show? So this was a study done, the influence of religion on interstate armed conflict, government, religion preference, and first use of force. So he looked at interstate armed conflicts, and basically he looked at three religions. You can see it down here. I've highlighted Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism. Okay, what did it find? Well, we can scroll down, tell you basically what it found. In a nutshell, interstate armed conflict initiation is found to be negatively associated with Christianity, mildly positively associated with Islam, and not associated with Buddhism. And I can scroll down here to the charts, and I can just show you with the GRP. So here's where I want right here. So you can see he ran these models. Christianity, as you can see, negative, 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 negative. Islam, you have a mild positive association, and Buddhism is non-significant. You can see Buddhism is well within the range of non-significance. Same thing down here. So he ran numerous robustness checks, numerous factors to make sure this was going to be a very reliable study. And of course, it found that Christianity leads to less interstate armed conflict, whereas Islam leads to an increase. So at the end of the day, does Islam promote violence? Well, you may not think it does, but the data tells a different story. It seems that Islam does result in more violence. I don't know any other way around this. It just seems to be what the data shows. And Christianity was better than Buddhism even, because Buddhism was non-significant, but Christianity seems to lead to a decrease in interstate armed conflict. So it's a really good study, a lot of robustness checks. He did robustness tests for any sociologist that's a Muslim that might be watching. He did robustness checks, which is important. And again, he found the results that you would expect. So yeah, does Islam promote violence? Yes.
And if we had to guess why, if we just had to guess, could it be because you have all these clear commands from Allah and Muhammad ordering you to fight people and to subjugate the world?
Could be.
Would that be a good working hypothesis?
Or maybe it's because Christians are being so mean and challenging them at places like Speaker's Corner, and now they're all offended, and now they need to go out and enact violence to deal with it.
That's a good one too.
It could be it. That might be it right there.
All right. So should we check out another one? Hang on. So what's he got? He got some coming up on child marriage, right?
He does. He's got one on child marriage. Yep.
Awesome. Hang on. Let's take a couple super chats real quick so they don't build up too much. Momo framing Gabriel as a sodomite is pretty haram. Claiming an angel of God was banging him is pretty bad. The original LGBT icon. It is pretty creepy what Muhammad was doing. Online people call for a new crusade. What say you? I'm not interested in. I believe Islam can be crushed if people just stop the stupid, idiotic defenses of it. Islam, guys, there's a reason. If you notice, what concerns them is not fighting them. What concerns them is criticizing. That's when they lose their minds. And what are they obsessed with? Controlling speech. People all the time are giving you information about what even they know is their weak spot. Islam has always known its weakness is criticism. It can't stand criticism. That's why it has to silence it. So if you know that, you may think, oh no, it's too strong. It's too. I mean, you go back 15 years, there were like a handful of us responding to Islam. And after several years of that, other people caught on. Then you end up with an avalanche of apostasy, and that's still not a lot of people. What if millions of people caught on and all started blasting away at it? So here's the point: if you wanted to launch some massive military campaign and so on, you'd have to have a ton of people with you, a ton of governments and everything else. Okay, if you had that kind of power, you could destroy Islam just by criticism. So why wouldn't you want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Exactly. Exactly.
Quran verse that states, "We killed the Messiah, the son of Mary, messenger of Allah." I realized how idiotic you would have to be Jewish and claim to kill the Jewish Messiah. Yeah, so the Jews in there brag that they killed the Messiah. They call him, the Christ, the messenger of Allah. And so that is pretty weird. IP, your chat GPT is corrupted, you see.
It's the only possible explanation, yes.
It's been corrupted. Lily is Aussie, not sure where from. I'm guessing. Yeah, that's the other thing. Most annoying accent. Some Australians sound cool, and then like Crocodile Dundee and stuff. And some just, I don't know what part that is, but that is like awful.
I'll be in Brisbane in like a month, and I have early, like mid-May, I'll be in Brisbane for a week. But I have a question for a lot of the Aussies when they're there. It's like, why do they say no, like nar? What's with that? Why do they say nar? Yeah. You ask them how to say no, they'll be like nar. And that's not right. There's no AR. I'm confused. I get it all wrong.
Weird stuff. Lily is Aussie, not sure where from. I'm guessing she picked up a BF from the West with Tin Sand. Now thinks she's hectic. He's probably a drug dealer, and she is ride or die. I would guess that basically someone contacted her and said, "Hey, I know you're a grifter. You want to make some money. We need people promoting Islam." I'm serious.
Well, could be it. Yeah.
Let's see. Not so much ride or die, but easy. Don't know. Grifter, definitely. Financial self-defense. You see, Liar Wood. Yes. Gotta have it. It's financial self-defense. They need to defend themselves against losing money, so they have to fight to get people to pay them. It's called prompt programming. You command GPT to assume a posture or persona ahead of time.
Yeah.
You could tell GPT to answer as Jack Sparrow. Oh, you could. Okay, that's interesting.
You totally can. Yeah, you can have it do all sorts of things like that. Yeah.
GPT also programmed to be culturally sensitive. Interesting. Yeah. So in other words, with all the different things that can go on, probably not a great source of reliable information if someone is on the screen getting it to say things.
Mm-hmm.
Lily J tries to make Muhammad look cool. She'll use a fancy AI tool, but some secret rules make the Sahaba look like fools.
Yo.
That's true.
Yo.
ChatGPT, does dog poop stink? ChatGPT, according to Islam, dog poop does not stink. Lily J, surprised face. That's about the quality of her videos. Apologist Lenny Esposito spoke Saturday, said about AI and said ChatGPT makes up sources, including books that do not exist, cites false science papers, and spouts confident nonsense.
Interesting.
Does that sound about right?
I don't know. I use Grok more, and I'll put in stuff in Grok, and then I'll go check it. Like I needed to check a Pliny the Elder thing a little while ago, and I was like, I couldn't remember where it was, and so I just asked ChatGPT, and it told me the reference, and I went and looked it up, and yeah, it was there. Or no, Grok basically. But yeah, I don't use ChatGPT that much. I try to use Grok more.
And I'm guessing because I've never even used ChatGPT, but I'm guessing that if ChatGPT is basically making up sources, as you say, it's probably, I would guess, I don't know this, but I would guess that it's basically pulling up articles and using them that have made up sources, and it doesn't know. It's just like, oh, this cited an article, even if it's made up, and it doesn't know. But yeah, I don't know how that stuff works. How far does Lily J reach? Is she worth our time? Don't make that mistake, Samuel Johnson.
She's got a pretty big reach right now.
Yeah, she has a big reach. She's like AP was showing like that they're starting some like Dawah Center or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
With her and Numan Ali Khan, who was in a big sexting scandal years ago. He's meeting all these girls at conferences and so on.
How long before she starts getting sexually harassed? I hope that doesn't happen, but given the people she's associating with, it's red flags are going up.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if she's getting married to one of these guys or what, or already. I have no idea about any of this stuff. But is she worth our time? what do I keep saying in my video? You got to be relentless, right? You have to be relentless. Look at, we're basically backing them into corners, right? While we try to do away with atmospheres of ignorance wherever they may be, right? So again, Samuel Johnson, if you go back to the 1980s, you had Ahmed Deedat. He was able to go around the entire world promoting Islam, and people could not challenge him because no one anywhere he went knew anything about Islam. He could make things up left and right like it's a sport. No one could respond. It took a lot of time and a lot of work to get people responding to that, but it was hard because he'd already spread his claims to millions and millions and millions of people around the world. How do we do that? I can make a video responding to something. Guess what? Most of those people don't see any of that. So it's a ton of work. And eventually, after decades, you get to the point where da'is don't even want to defend this stuff anymore because they know how desperate it is. So what happens? It's down to people like Lily J and Sneeko and so on, duping ignorant people. Should we just say, oh, it's not worth our time? No. You still just keep going. You keep going until they have nothing left. What is that? What was that quote from Leonidas? Give them nothing, but take from them everything. That's what you're looking for. So yes, anyone who rears their head and starts spouting Dawah nonsense needs to be exposed and refuted. I'll show you peace if you draw a cartoon of Muhammad. That's from Dawah Troll. I'll show you peace if you draw a picture of Muhammad. White Muzzy looks very dark and creepy, bad person. Yeah, he's it's for me, it's just the fact that he knows he's lying and we know that he knows he's lying. Because if you're wrong about something, you're not, if you're just wrong about something but you believe it, I think you're wrong and I want to correct you. If you are deliberately deceiving people about stuff, you're in a different category.
I mean, and you can't get away with it. We know they're programming ChatGPT to say these things. So
indisputable. Does Islam automatically make back Pfeifengesicht, or does it attract them? I don't know that one.
We don't speak German. AP's not here.
Yeah, I know some words, but I don't know. Back Pfeifengesicht. Darn it. I'm going to look it up.
I bet it's a made up word.
No. Germans have all sorts of funny, dumb words.
They sure do. That's why we started World War I and II to begin with. Yeah, stupid language. Something like that, I think.
Slap face. It says slap face. Does Islam automatically make slap face, or does it attract them? The heck?
Good question.
Slap face.
I mean, I guess you just mean like just the people that are, stupid, like slap face kind of thing.
Okay.
I don't know. No. Good question. Who knows?
Okay. If people start posting the truth about Islam online, like on Locals or other blogging type sites, we can reprogram ChatGPT with the truth. I wouldn't count on it, but definitely can't hurt to get out tons of good information and responses. Christian was fined $7,500 for telling off drag queen priest in Sweden. He told him to clean himself up and repent, and got community service and fined. Yeah, it's the way things are heading in certain places. I don't see certainty in you. I don't know if you saw that video, but
certainty, yes, certainty. I saw the certainty.
We have to have the certainty. The certainty. It's like you can't even. I'm sorry. For anyone in a Western country who thinks that Islamic extremism cannot take over, I point to Lebanon or various other countries. Lebanon is a good example. In the 20th century, ladies and gentlemen, last century, there was a Christian majority nation in the Middle East, Lebanon. Lebanon is no longer a Christian majority nation. It is a Muslim majority nation now. Why?
Yeah.
Christians focused on having their 1 or 2 kids and sending them to good schools and so on, and Muslims had babies.
Yeah, pretty much. Birth rates are important.
Pretty much exactly what's going on in Great Britain right now. Although Great Britain actually has it worse because they've got a bunch of atheists now who have even lower birth rates and so on.
Oh, yeah. That's destroying the West, is just the birth rates from secularism. Yeah.
I spent most of my life ridiculing Christ and Christians. I am now a follower of Christ. Can I be saved? Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely, yeah.
You heard of the Apostle Paul, Budrow?
Yeah.
Islam, Jackie, here you see. No. Imagine using ChatGPT to defend your religion. Hi, IP. I know.
Hi.
GPT pretends to be a moral relativist and swears to be open-minded until you ask it to tell you a very naughty story. Won't do it.
Apparently.
Columbia students named in federal Hamas terror lawsuit been in direct contact with Hamas. 2 months from now, whiteboard JPT. That's what we need. That's what we need. Whiteboard JPT. That'll be after her, after she's in a burqa. I've used GPT to help with coding. It's stupid. Its stupidity shines there. It confidently spouts nonsense, and I'm constantly having to persuade and redirect it. Sounds creepy.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
AI
has a long way to go.
Everyone's been telling me, David, you got to get on ChatGPT. It makes things so great. But then everyone else is like, oh, it screws so much stuff up.
No, I mean, like people told me to start using it to writing scripts, and I'm not. It's good. I'll use Grok to just help me find sources. I can't remember what's the Greek author that said this, and then I'll use Grok. But like, if you got to be very careful with how you use it, because sometimes I'll look things up and like it'll say like, yeah, in this book it says this on this page, and I go and read that page, and it says nothing like what it said in Grok. So it is a little twitchy. You got to be careful.
Made up AI answers are called hallucinations, and I don't even need to pull from any sources. Could be 100% fabricated on the spot, getting better over time. That's creepy. Thoughts on David Knight, Christian, veteran journalist who's been talking about Islam's takeover in the NWO for years, polluted my dad's brain. Not familiar with him.
Nope, sorry.
Sorry I'm late, IP. I thought you would be asleep.
You should have spelled wood as W-O-O-D.
Even when shown direct proof from their sources, no Muslim is ever willing to admit that they have any faults in their religion. Why is that? Is there anything one could do at that point? That goes back to the Sheikh Asim al-Hakim video. If you didn't see that, watch that clip with him and Sneeko. Soon as you start saying, hey, I have a doubt about this, or I'm concerned about, you're a kafir, you're a kafir, you're a kafir. And if you're in a Muslim country and you're a Muslim, then that would be calling you an apostate and saying, we will chop your head off for this sort of thing.
Did you see Ali Dawah is trying to do damage control over that? Like he's interviewing Sneeko after that going, no, it's okay. You can't have doubt and talk in Islam. It's okay. Like they're in full damage control mode right now over that clip.
That's why I love Sneeko. He always goes and talks to someone and posts it all online. And then it's this, and then they have to do damage control and stuff. And
they
it's
got
just hilarious.
So much to do. Yeah. It's insane. But yeah, replying to the super chat. Yeah. It's very much that mentality. They have to submit. Submission is the highest good. It's over truths. I mean, again, the problem with a lot of Westerners is we're assuming a Judeo-Christian culture and an ethical background. Islamic ethics is so different. Truth is secondary to submitting to the will of Muhammad. That's true. And Allah. Like everything has to be submission. So they seek that as their highest good. Truth takes a second back burner to that. I was debating a Muslim on Instagram. It's still up on my Instagram page like 6 months ago. And I was bringing up scientific studies on child marriage. And he's like, yeah, well, we already have a perfect system. It's called Islam. And I'm like, but science shows you're wrong. No. Islam already says it's true. So we don't really care what the scientific studies have to say. And it's like mind-boggling to the fact that they don't really care what science has. They'll use it when it's beneficial. Like they think a study supports them, they'll cite it.
That's the rule. And that's the rule as far as making claims and dawah and so on. It's not, hey, is your argument for Islam correct? Are you speaking the truth? It's, is your argument in favor of Islam? If so, how much you lie and make up is irrelevant. It's good and true based on whether it supports Islam. That's the criterion.
Powerful.
Some weird, creepy stuff. D. Wood, I respect you, but this is for Mike. If you don't know about him, please look up Sir John Monash. He was a great Australian hero of World War ! And he was a Jew.
Nice.
No, it's exclamation point.
Oh, I'll look up World War ! Then. Yes.
Fart those who do not believe. Just make sure you do your washing afterwards. That's a good point. ChatGPT is doing everything to tell me the Ezra verse is rhetorical, even though there's nothing in the text that says it's rhetorical. That's funny. That would be funny. I might need to get it just for that, to show how to like actually challenge it on some of these issues. Hey, what does this mean? Oh, it's rhetorical. Where are you getting that from? Where? And it's we know where it must be getting information from some, Dawah website or something like that, where they're saying that, because you have to. It's factually incorrect. So it must be something going on there.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm looking it up right now. I was just seeing what the ChatGPT says. This verse suggests that some Jews hold to the belief that Ezra was the son of God. However, historical and religious records indicate that mainstream Judaism did not consider Ezra divine or the son of God. Some scholars suggest that this verse may refer to a particular sect of Jews at the time of Prophet Muhammad. Oh, it added the peace be upon him here for me.
Nice. It's
Let me
learning.
see. Yeah, that's the first time it ever did it for me. If you want to put it up there, who
Would trust you.
had exaggerated reference for Ezra. Other proposed that it could be a misunderstanding or a figurative expression taken literally. So yeah, they're trying to do some justification there. So interesting.
That would, I might go ahead and make a video like that, because even right there, right? Like it gives an Islamic defense, and it doesn't work at all. Saying, because you actually have this as a response. Maybe it just referred to some tiny little group or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But three problems. One, why is it in Allah's eternal speech that he's responding to some tiny little group that's insignificant and that's going to be lost forever and we can't even find a record of? Why is that the target and not Judaism in general, or Jews in general? Two, the parallel there is with Christians. It's Jews say this about Ezra, Christians say this about Jesus. Okay, the Christians who say that about Jesus, that's standard mainstream Christianity. Why would you be talking about standard mainstream Christianity and some Jewish group that we don't even have a record of at all, that it exists? And why is it in a section about why you're supposed to fight Jews in general as the people of the book and subjugate them if it's just some tiny particular little group? Makes no sense. On top of all that, the third problem is in the Hadith, in Sahih al-Bukhari, you're told what different groups are going to be asked on the judgment day. And Christians are going to be asked, why did you worship Jesus? The main accusation against Jews on the day of judgment, according to Muhammad in the Hadith, is, why did you worship Ezra? So if this is just about some tiny little insignificant group that we don't even have a record of, why is it the main charge against Jews on the day of judgment? What's that mean? It means ChatGPT is getting its responses from some lame Dawah site and cannot stand up to scrutiny. But hey, maybe some exposing of ChatGPT's answers would help. I wonder if ChatGPT could ever in the future like take those into account and correct itself.
Powerful. Yes.
What are these? Oh, a couple more came in. Can you two both talk like Muslims? It would be funny. Oh, we both have.
Okay, Muslim.
See, I will humiliate you because you get the wrong answer.
Humiliate him.
Yes, what's wrong with you? How dare you doubt? How dare you doubt? How dare you doubt, you kafir? Right. Just curious, will pesky, whiny, agnostic Scandinavian singlings be saved?
Singlings?
Singlings, those are the Tovia Singer version of winglings.
Oh, I don't know.
Found a free Quran at a flea market, and I thank you for your analysis on Islam. I pray to evangelize Christ to Muslims from a place of knowledge. That's what we need, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we need. We need thousands of people doing that. Thank you both for your educational video. Hopefully we'll sit in Muslim heart. A question: what happened finally to Uthman Ketchup Boy after beating his wife and kids? I don't know. I haven't been following that. But
No,
yeah,
I
I
haven't either.
don't know how much you've been following. I mean, I followed it when Jai and DOC were talking about it. But yeah, basically, so Sheikh Uthman, compulsive liar, faked a hate crime against himself, squirted fake blood on his shirt, and then said, the kuffar, they're trying to stop my dawah, but I will never stop the dawah. What is this? He's as fake as Lily J. He is as fake as Lily J.
He goes around, he posts a video like once a month on like Rebecca being 3 in the Bible.
Total
and
lie.
Mary being 12 in Christian sources. Like every month, people will send me new videos of him doing this stuff.
Mhm.
It's like, he's obsessed with child marriage and showing that it was okay. It's insane.
And he's a liar. And I mean, you have to lie to get that result. And what's he doing? He's trying to accuse Abraham, because he's the one who sends the guy, and Isaac of being pedophiles. Like, you're a Muslim? This is what Islam teaches? So you've got that. So anyway, yeah, he faked a hate crime against himself. All sorts of other weird stuff that people make fun of him for. There's the time where he was pretending that a footnote is actually a hadith and so on, and lying about it. But yeah, more recently, then he then he got exposed. His Dawah buddy, was having marital problems, sent his wife to Sheikh Uthman for counseling. Sheikh Uthman banged her, and then she was married to both of them. She got married to Sheikh Uthman when she was still married to the other guy. And this guy exposes the whole thing. but Sheikh Uthman was already married, so this was his second or third wife or whatever. But then more recently, his original wife had to file a restraining order for like choking her and stuff like that,
Jeez.
and abuse, threatening her with a gun and stuff. And so, yeah, this. But I mean, think about this, because this ties into what we're talking about: faking hate crime against yourself, committing adultery with a guy who sends his wife to you for marital counseling, choking your wife till she gets a restraining order. What in any of this has hurt his reputation at all in the Dawah community? What that I've just said has remotely bothered his followers about anything he does? Why? The requirement isn't, the standard is not, are you good to this woman? Are you, are you committing adultery? Are you a compulsive liar? Do you fake hate crimes against? None of that matters as long as you are defending Islam and lying to promote it and lying about the Bible and so on. That's all that matters. It's all that they care about.
Absolutely.
Which, if you're a grifter like Lily J, and you look over and you see there is a community that, as long as you are praising their stuff, will shower you with money and everything else and never question anything you do, as long as you are just saying, oh, your religion good. That is a grifter's dream. A grifter's dream. It always seems like Muhammad wasn't trying to create a universal religion, more so an ethnic religion for the Arab. Well, you do have passages that sound like that.
Yeah, if you read In God's Path, Hoyland actually makes that argument that early on it was about Arab, like it was a multi-religious faction of Jews, Christians, and early proto-Muslims, basically pushing this Arabian conquest out, and then later under like I think it was like Abdul Malik, I believe is his name. That's when things start to go more in the direction of you got to be a Muslim to be of the elites, and then so that's what he kind of argues in his book.
There's a lawyer in the U.S. who used ChatGPT to write his submission to court, and the AI used fake cases and fake facts. He got into trouble. What a dope!
Wow.
How do you plead? I plead ChatGPT, Your Honor. I made a mistake. I downloaded the LLM Dolphin Llama. It's uncensored, and you can run it offline with Llama. You might want to check it out. I don't think so.
I don't know what that is.
Ask ChatGPT about the Islamic dilemma. Ooh, that would be good.
What I can do it now? What do you want me to word it as, though? Like, what should I say? Like, how do I word it?
How do you ask ChatGPT? What does the Quran say about the Bible? Or you could say more specifically, what does the Quran say about the Injil?
About is that I-N?
I-N.
Remind me how to spell that.
Yeah, they spell it with an I or with two E's, but I-N-J.
Yeah, I've seen it both
E-E-L.
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it both ways. I can't remember. Okay. The Quran mentions the Injil multiple times, affirming it is a divine revelation given to Prophet Isa, Jesus. Here are some key points about the Injil according to the Quran. It was revealed by Allah. It contains guidance and light. It confirms the Torah. It was meant for the people of Jesus' time. The Quran supersedes previous scriptures. While the Quran acknowledges the Injil as a divine revelation, here it states that the previous scriptures were either altered or lost over time.
Where?
The Quran is considered the final preserved word.
Oh, yeah.
Here it says here. I'll put on the screen if you want to see it. It says it's in Surah 5:48.
Oh, yeah. No. That is dude, this is actually proof. Now we know that it's getting its answers from Dawah.
Yeah, I got my screen share if you want to show it to people. Yeah.
Oh, I'm just saying. Now we know that ChatGPT gets its information from terrible Dawah sites.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, absolutely.
Look, it went with criterion. That doesn't mean criterion. That's the translation they go with because it's the only translation they can go with to try and get something where it's correcting the previous scriptures. It's actually guardian. The Quran is a guardian over the previous scriptures. And if you read in context, so this is Surah 5, verse 48. Look what you have there. Look up at verse 47. It's got it right there. It quotes it. Let the people, so you got it at the top of the screen there. Let the people of the gospel judge by what Allah hath revealed therein. What's that mean?
Yeah,
I mean, we've got to have the gospel if it's telling us to judge by it. If we have the if we have the gospel, I mean, if we're going to judge by the gospel, we have to have the gospel. So we have it, right? And so that entire passage, the passage starts in verse 43 of Surah 5. And it's about Jews. Jews come to Muhammad to settle a dispute. Allah's response in the Quran is, why are they coming to you when they have the Torah? So what does the Quran do when you try to go away from the Torah to get a different response from someone like Muhammad? The Quran sends you back to your book, the book that's revealed to your group, right? So when Jews try to get away from what the Torah says and they come to Muhammad to get a different answer, the Quran's response is, no, you go back to your book, your book. Then you get to verse 47, let the people of the gospel judge by what Allah revealed in the gospel. And then the next verse is, the Quran is the guardian over the previous scriptures. How? In context, what does that mean? It means the Quran isn't letting you get away from your book. It's not letting you deviate from your book. It's protecting it by sending you back to it. And so this is interesting stuff. I'm going to have to grab ChatGPT just to make some interesting videos like that. Because it's pretty creepy if ChatGPT, based on what you just showed me, ChatGPT is basically giving Dawah responses, flat out Dawah responses. Because you would never, if ChatGPT just like absorbs the Quran, if ChatGPT were just to like absorb the knowledge of the Quran, it would never in a million years have given that. Because there's not one word of criticism about the Injil, not one. I made an entire video. I made a video, everything the Quran says about the gospel, where I go through every single mention in the entire. I challenge Muslims, show me one word of criticism, one, anywhere. There's none. There's zero. So anyway, this is weird stuff. Weird stuff.
Yeah, if you read the rest of the verse, like I just went and looked it up, like Surah 548 says, we have revealed to you, O Prophet, this book with the truth as a confirmation of previous scriptures and a supreme authority on them. So judge between them by what Allah has revealed and do not follow their desires over the truth that has come to you. To each of you, we have ordained a code of law and a way of life. If Allah has willed, he would have made you one community. But his will is to test you with what he has given each of you. So complete with one another in doing good. To Allah, you will all return to, then he will inform you of the truth regarding your differences. So it confirms in the whole verse, this differences, Jews have the Torah.
It says Allah wants them. It says Allah wants different communities. How's that? No, the Quran is here for everyone. Everyone has to submit to the Quran. Never in a million years. Hey, what do we have here? Ethiopian Soldier says, this is so desperate. OMG, I feel bad for these hosts. Smacking my head. What do you mean?
You see, he exposed us. He destroyed us.
What do you mean? And I'm saying that Ethiopian Soldier because some people come along and they just spout things without actually having a point, and they just say things, rent free in your head. Make anything remotely resembling an important point about anything we said. Share an actual coherent thought with us about something we said that shows a problem with something we said. Show us. And I know you can. I already know you can. I'm just letting everyone else know you're totally fake. You're trained to do. You just have all these people who go around. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you're so dumb, and you never can show anything wrong with anything we said. I mean, think about this. We're sitting here. What is this? A meme, beautiful chapter. Make a coherent point. What have we said? Have we said anything wrong? Have we said anything that's incorrect? What have we been pointing out? We've got stupid Dawah clips that are completely deceptive and completely contradict the Muslim sources. And what do we do? Isn't this amazing, IP?
Yeah.
What do the Dawah fans of the world love? They love lying about their sources. And what do? We step in and show what their sources actually say, and they hate us for it. How are we the bad guys when we're the only ones who have the basic level of respect for your sources to at least say accurately what they say? Everyone in the Dawah community does nothing but lie about what's in the Muslim sources. They're the good guys. We at least have the basic level of respect to tell the truth about what's in your sources, and that makes us bad. What is this religion? Where telling the truth is bad and lying is good. What is this?
Hey,
hang on. You shared with audio, and now you got the robot voice. You have to log out and pop back in. It is. There's a way to troubleshoot the settings, but I am terrible with technology.
All right.
He was saying switch to StreamYard. Okay, we got to get back to these videos, but I thank everyone for all the tons of super chats. Hey yo.
Did you fix it?
Yeah, you're good now.
All right.
That was
Let me
interesting asking about the Islamic dilemma. What were you trying to do?
Let me.
Just tell
I
us.
want to. Can I? I did not try to share with audio. I wanted to share.
Nope, robot voice.
So, camera pro.
I can't hear anything you're saying. Yeah, that's why everyone tells me to. Again, there's a way to fix that. I just don't know how to do it. Oh my goodness! Here we go. Uh-oh. It's not letting me bring Mike in. Hang on. There we go.
Pretty lame system.
Hey, here's an idea. Why not try doing it again?
No, I will use Safari tab. Apparently, if I try to share a Chrome tab, it gets all mad at me.
Oh, that's interesting to know. That is helpful. I can tell people.
Yeah, if you share, but now you should be able. I should be fine now.
It's fine now.
All right, here. If I go back to if I go to this, okay. If you say, look what it does here. It says, reveal to you the previous scriptures, a supreme authority on them. But if you go up here, it says it doesn't say that. It says something different. It says a guardian over it. So why?
Yes.
Does the translation different?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said, right? Right?
Yeah.
It means
the translation
it means guardian.
But the translation, why did they translate it this way when up here they translate it as the book and a guardian over it?
Yeah.
Why are they doing that?
Because if you say guardian, that implies nothing about their corruption. It implies that if someone is going to attack those scriptures, the Quran is somehow their defender. And Muslims can't do that, and so they deliberately mistranslate with these insane translations. And this is all because they can't deal with the Islamic dilemma. And so it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
like they know it. They know it means guardian, and they'll translate it as other things, criterion or other or supreme authority. It's the supreme authority. It's pathetic.
Yeah, well, this is what's so weird about it. It's like you can just check up here and see. Like they'll put it up here. They'll translate it proper up there, but down here it's different. That's deception.
That is definitely deception. New kid on the block. His name is Fauzi Dawah. He got caught threatening a Christian's mother in a sexual manner in debate. That is not surprising at all. I mean, we had Central Dawah threatening to kill AP. D. Wood, in the West, Dawah stirs are on Rebecca's age, proving it's 3, and in India on the age of Sita, wife of Lord Rama, proving it's 6. Surprise? No. And I don't know anything about Sita, but I know we're dealing with a bunch of liars. AP is leaving atheism. It took him a long time because he had to give up urinating on one another. That's true. That was the tough spot. You ever been to the San Antonio missions? Beautiful. No. To the San Antonio, but D. Wood, have you seen Sneeko video with Uthman asking him if Arabs are superior as per Islam and how it is contrary to his original learning that Islam teaches equality? Uthman answered very delicately. Yeah, you'd have to. You don't want to get the Arabs against you. Guys, a little cash, but much love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Olema lets you run LLMs, AI mods offline, and you don't have to pay a subscription. ChatGPT's LLM is known to be biased, but Dolphin Llama isn't.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever used anything except Grok.
Yeah, Grok's pretty good. I use that more than anything.
Daily Wood reported the prophet is saying the eyes of the leather strap the anus, farting on those who disbelieve and urinating upon one another. That is all correct. Looking at trajectory, Sneeko is getting doubts. Yeah, it's just weird that that's what he's getting doubts about. Well, it says Yemen, they're best. It's like, really? All the other stuff. AIs are lazy. You need to prod them. Ask it to contrast what it has said with what Dr. David Woods has said. That would be a good try. Thanks for all the work you do. Jesus Christ is Lord. Muhammad is the most obvious false prophet in history. Him and Joe Smith. That is correct. Allah is interfering with IP's PC, you see.
You see?
That's good. And IP got exposed. He's actually a robot. Yeah, his true nature came out. All right, let's check out some of the child marriage stuff here. These are short.
No.
Okay, so what am I looking for? Child marriage.
Always child marriage with these guys.
Right. They certainly do love the topic of child marriage. It is funny, guys, because that's, again, going back to what I was saying earlier about should we really be doing this? And I'm saying you got to be relentless. Go back 15, 20 years. You said Muhammad married a child. Everyone said you were lying. Everyone said you were lying. Now that everyone's trying to defend it. They're all trying to defend it. Why? Because we kept pushing. That's why you keep pushing.
Hey ChatGPT, does Islam allow you to marry children today?
Islam does
Yes.
not allow child brides today. Marriage in Islam requires consent, maturity, and the ability to fulfill responsibility.
Where? Hey, open challenge. What's his channel? White Muslim guy or white Muslim?
White Muslim guy.
White Muslim guy. Show us that in your sources. Show us. Show us Islam requires maturity. Any of that nonsense. Hang on, let me back up.
There's consent, maturity, and the ability to
Consent. You said consent. What did Muhammad say about a young girl who's a virgin and consent? Do you know?
Yeah, when
White
did he
Muslim
say
guy?
that?
Why don't you ask ChatGPT that? But I'll tell you right now. He said her silence is her consent.
Oh.
In other words, she's not objecting and not screaming, "Hey, no, don't marry me off to this guy," because her parents told her to shut up, and that's her consent. Weirdo.
fulfill responsibilities. Most Muslim countries set legal marriage ages, and scholars
Why? Because Western nations made them.
Force them to. Yes, absolutely.
You hear this?
Absolutely.
Oh, the Muslim nations just decided on all these minimum ages for marriage. Western nations made them do that. Weird.
Yeah, let me find
agree that
paper.
marriage should happen only when both are mature and ready.
Both are mature and Aisha was 9. Where are you getting that from? Where? Both are mature. What is this? Like they have not. ChatGPT hasn't said one correct word yet.
Yo, the paper I was looking for is The Shadow of Empire, Christian Missionaries, Colonial Policy and Democracy in Post-Colonial Societies. He points out that, the reason India had a marriage age starting at 12 and then they slowly moved it up was because of the British rule there. They're the one. And what happened when they set that marriage age at 12? The Muslims and the Hindus rioted, like absolutely rioted. Like over something like that. You're not letting us marry 11-year-olds? How dare you? How dare you? So yeah, Western nations had to compromise even. They like, we'll start at 12, and then years later they started to move it up more. But you get the idea. Like this idea that Islam just did this is no, that's not exactly what happened.
Yeah, so everything there, total lie. Everything there so far, total lie. But
Yeah.
let's see. We'll probably watch it again because it's short and like you have to kind of. I had to stop on like everything you said because it's all wrong. But hey, you might want to type into ChatGPT. Does Islam allow child marriage? That's what he said, right?
Let's do it.
I'm interested. If it is this bad, and he didn't program it to say that, that is seriously messed up. 'Cause
Does
this is completely
Islam
wrong.
allow? Islam does not encourage child marriage, but interpretations of Islamic law regarding the minimum age of marriage vary. The Quran does not explicitly set a minimum age for marriage, but it emphasizes the importance of mutual consent and the ability to fulfill marital responsibilities. Historically, child marriage occurred in many cultures, including among Muslims, but contemporary scholars in Islamic countries have set the legal minimum age for marriage, often around puberty or older, to ensure maturity and readiness for responsibility. Many Islamic scholars today advocate for setting an appropriate minimum age for marriage based on well-being, education, and societal norms.
So very different from the answer he got, right? I mean, I'd still have all kinds of problems with your answer based on what's in the Muslim sources, and because we know why Muslim nations started having these minimum ages and so on. It's because of Western pressure, not because of this magically sprang out of Islam. And on the issue of consent, it requires consent. Muhammad said her consent is her silence. As long as she keeps her mouth shut because her dad told her to, boom, in there like swimwear. Let's finish this.
Islam emphasizes justice and protection, aligning with ending child marriage.
If you're an Islamophobe, just because you say it doesn't mean it's true. Sorry, Charlie.
Oh, do you see that, David? Just because
Yep.
you say it doesn't mean it's true. I wonder if you have any sources on this. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, guys, how insane is that? Everything in there has nothing to do with actually what's in the Muslim sources. And it's just this arrogant, condescending way of spouting nonsense. And that's what works in Islam. Hey, bud, white Muslim guy, you want to see what your sources actually say? Check this out. Think, what did ChatGPT just say? It said, no, Islam leads you out of child marriage because of its emphasis on justice and blah, blah, blah. What is this? This is Sahih al-Bukhari. This is a chapter introduction for 5133. Giving one's young children in marriage is permissible. Young children. Wait a minute. I thought Islam leads you out of child marriage. Why is it permissible? By virtue of the statement of Allah. And for those who have no monthly courses, i.e. they are still immature. It's talking about marrying, having sex with, and divorcing girls all before they've reached puberty. And it mentions there, while they're still immature, they haven't reached puberty. And the iddah, that's the waiting period before this girl can marry someone else after you are divorcing her. The iddah for the girl before puberty is 3 months in the above verse. So notice, it's girl before puberty. Girl before puberty. This is talking about pre-pubescent girls, marrying, having sex with, divorcing, and passing on to the next guy. And the hadith that's given as an example of this narrated Aisha that the Prophet wrote the marriage contract with her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old. Then she remained with him for 9 years, i.e. till his death. What do we have here? Sahih al-Bukhari. The Prophet wrote the marriage contract with Aisha while she was 6 years old, consummated his marriage while she was 9 years old. She remained with him for 9 years till his death. 6130. Narrated Aisha, I used to play with dolls in the presence of the Prophet, and my girlfriends also used to play with me. When Allah's messenger used to enter my dwelling place, they used to hide themselves, but the Prophet would call them to join and play with me. He liked watching all the little girls playing together. And then notice what you have here. The playing with dolls and similar images is forbidden, but it was allowed for Aisha at that time as she was a little girl, not yet reached the age of puberty. Everyone getting that? Everyone getting that?
Now, they'll say that's not in the hadith. That's a commentator, David.
By Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, the greatest hadith commentator of all time, pointing out, because any Muslim who reads, wait a minute, Aisha was playing with dolls. How could she play with dolls? Dolls are images. Images are forbidden. He explains this was only enforced once you reach puberty. If you're a prepubescent, you're allowed to play with dolls. If you've reached puberty, you're not allowed to play with dolls. So Aisha playing with dolls means, in an Islamic context, she hadn't reached puberty.
Powerful.
And as far as the Quran goes, this is the verse, ladies and gentlemen. And those of your women as have passed the age of monthly courses, so these are women who have gone through menopause and they don't have a monthly menstrual cycle anymore. This verse is about, Surah 65 verse 4 is about, it's a response to some questions that arose because the Quran had already declared that if you want to divorce someone, you have to wait 3 monthly menstrual cycles before she can marry again. But some questions arose. What about women who have gone through menopause, so they don't have a monthly menstrual cycle, or girls who are too young, or pregnant women who don't have a monthly menstrual cycle? In other words, what do we do here? And here's the response. And those of your women as have passed the age of monthly courses, for them the iddah, prescribed period, if you have doubt about their periods, is 3 months. So wait 3 months instead of 3 monthly menstrual cycles because they're too old to have a monthly menstrual cycle. And for those who have no courses, i.e. they are still immature, their iddah, prescribed period, is 3 months likewise, except in the case of death. So if you're divorcing a 6-year-old or divorcing a 7-year-old because you've gotten tired of her and you want to pass her on to the next guy, then after you divorce her, she's going to have to wait 3 months before the next pedophile can have sex with her.
What's the source on this one again?
That's the Quran, Surah 65, verse 4.
Oh, boy. Oh, it's right there in the Quran.
Yep. That is the Quran. And guys, you can look up the commentary of Ibn Abbas. You can look up the commentary of the two Jalals. You can look up Ibn Kathir. Everyone down to the 20th century knew exactly what that meant. Talking about sex with prepubescent girls. Somehow we watch a video from our buddy. So guys, just knowing that little bit right there. Aisha was prepubescent. The Quran allows sex with prepubescent girls and IP. What did Daniel Hakikachu say when you asked him about what's allowed in Islam as far as far as ages and so on?
In my debate, which is still online with Daniel Akikichu, I asked him, when can you marry and consummate a marriage with a girl? He said if there are signs of puberty. So I brought up precocious puberty.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, he said signs of maturity, which I don't know what's going on in his head, but in their commentaries, as far as Islamic jurisprudence, the maturity thing, that wasn't about being a mature person. They were concerned about two things. One, that the girl is not so small that if you penetrate her, you're going to give her a fistula and turn the two holes into one hole, right? So they're worried about that. And they're worried about the girl being so small that you're going to actually crush her during sex. So when they're talking about maturity in those contexts, they're talking about that. They're not talking. Here's the thing. It's like equivocation. You say, hey, we're concerned about maturity. For the Islamic scholars, maturity meant mature enough that you're not going to crush her while having sex. She's not a fragile little thing like a baby or something like that. And when you have sex with her, you're not going to rip her open and ruin her for the future. That's what they're concerned about. That's what they mean by maturity. So the issue is, I don't know what Daniel means by if there are signs of maturity when he said. Matter of fact, let's just, I got the clip right here. Let's see what he says.
You mentioned the period comes at the end of puberty. Are you saying someone can marry and have sex with someone prior to getting their period?
So according to Islamic law, when the body is fully formed because of puberty, the period comes at Tanner stage 4, which is the end of puberty. So yes, when there are signs of physical maturity, then it becomes permissible for the husband in Islamic law to have marital relationships or consummate the relation with his bride. And this is the example of the Prophet, peace be upon him, who married six.
Before the age of menarche, that's what I'm trying to get.
Before the period.
Okay.
Islamic
Do you know
law.
what precocious puberty is?
Yes, I do.
He just said you can have sex before the period, right? Is that what he said?
Yeah, because he's pushed this nonsensical argument that it's all about maximizing fertility. But then he admits, no, it isn't, because you can't get pregnant until after you have your first period or reach the age of menarche. But he admits, no, you can have sex with a girl before they have their first period. So it never was about maximizing fertility. Mm-hmm. That was a lie. Daniel Hakikichu lied all those years, and I called him out on stage because I knew from studying him that he was lying.
Yeah, so in reality, it's just about sex with kids and not about maximizing fertility.
Exactly.
Let me back that up just so we're clear, and then we'll finish this.
The period comes at the end of puberty. Are you saying someone can marry and have sex with someone prior to getting their period?
So according to Islamic law, when the body is fully formed because of puberty, the period comes at Tanner stage 4, which is the end of puberty. So yes, when there are signs of physical maturity, then it becomes permissible for the husband in Islamic law to have marital relationships or consummate the relation with his bride. And this is the example of the Prophet, peace be upon him, who married six.
Before the age of menarche, that's what I'm trying to get.
Before the period.
Okay.
Islamic
Do you know
law.
what precocious puberty is?
So he just acknowledged you can have sex before a girl gets her period, right? But you're silenced, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's acknowledged
Okay.
that, yeah.
Okay. And then so you're saying, but he's still saying something about puberty as far as maturity and so on, as far as starting, as far as other signs or something like that. Again, I'm not even buying that because that's not required. I mean, he's saying, the beginning of puberty, not the later stage of puberty when you actually get your menstrual cycle. The Quran has none of that stuff. The Quran says nothing. It's just prepubescent. So.
Yes, I do.
Okay. What is it?
It means starting puberty unusually early, like
Can
beyond
you have,
averages.
Is there anything in Islam that prevents you from a man marrying a 5-year-old that started precocious puberty?
No, marriage can happen, you can arrange a marriage even as an infant, but that doesn't mean that sex is allowed.
Okay, could a man have a marriage to a 5-year-old consummated if she started precocious puberty?
If she starts showing signs of physical maturity, then yes, that's permissible, as I stated. That's
What about
the
age
principle.
4?
If there are signs
3.
So this is something that becomes biologically impossible because precocious
I have
puberty,
a study
there are
that shows
no...
it goes as early as 11 months.
All right, well, that's something that the parents would not... the thing about Islamic marriage is that parents are involved at these ages. And when you look at the marriage of the Prophet, peace be upon him, to Aisha, her parents were involved. And so she was not living with the Prophet, peace be upon him, even though she was married to him. So the parents have oversight, and sometimes a qadi or a judge can have oversight if the guardians are not capable, to make sure that the rights and the physical well-being of a child are not, or a minor, are not harmed by that marriage.
Wow. So yeah, parents can decide if their 11-month-old should be married off if the child has started precocious puberty. So just remember that.
Yeah. Did you guys get that? And here's the problem. So he's saying there shouldn't be some law against sex with an 11-month-old. He's saying that's the parent's decision whether you can marry off your 11-month-old baby to some creepy pervert who's going to have sex with your 11-month-old baby. It's a parent's decision, but he's saying, parent's not going to decide that. The parents are under the control of people like Daniel Hakikachu, if he were the local scholar. And if the local guy wants your 11-month-old baby, what's he tell you? He says it's fine. No, there's signs of maturity, precocious puberty. She's ready for it. This is what's going on in the world of Dawah, ladies and gentlemen. You have people like Daniel Hakikachu going around defending this. And then you have people like Ali Dawah saying things like,
You asked me, would I allow my daughter to get married at 9? I'm saying the analogy is wrong because our teachers teach us the woman has to be sexually, mentally, and physically ready. That means if my daughter wants to menstruation, let me finish. If my daughter reached the age of menstruation at 9 years old, I would say you are ready. You are ready to get married.
he says, if my daughter gets the age of menstruation, and keep in mind, he's better than his sources, and he's being better than Daniel Hakikachu, because neither the Quran nor the Hadith nor Daniel Hakikachu requires menstruation, right? Mm-hmm. This is just Ali Dawah being better than his sources. But he's saying he would tell his 9-year-old, if she gets her first period at the age of 9, that she's ready to get married. It's going to let's have Muhammad Hijab correct him right here on the idea that Islam requires a monthly period.
If you look just at the Quran, you will get the indication that you can have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old. The reason why it's haram to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old is not found in the Quran at all. If you just read the Quran, it is halal. It would be halal to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old. In Surah Al-Talaq, chapter 65, verse 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us who you can divorce and who you cannot divorce. And then he says, وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ, and the ones who had never been pubescent before. And by the way, this is very important, yeah? I want all Muslims to be aware of this. The reason why we don't have sexual intercourse with 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds or whatever is not because of puberty. Wait a minute, what did you say? It's not because of puberty, because that verse in the Quran actually says lam yahid. They never had puberty before.
Never had puberty.
You can't go around that.
Did you catch that? Can't go around that.
Yep.
Now, guys, just for the sake of honesty and full disclosure, Muhammad Hijab is not saying you can have sex with a 5-year-old. He's saying if you just went with the Quran, you would conclude that you can have sex with a 5-year-old because the Quran obviously allows you to have sex with prepubescent girls. He says you have to go outside of the Quran, this perfect book. You have to go outside of the Quran. And what he does is to get around to say you should not have sex with a 5-year-old is Muhammad once said, hey, don't harm others. And he says, but don't harm others. Therefore, you wouldn't have sex with a 5-year-old. Even though you can't just apply that as some sort of blanket command, right? Because Islam allows all kinds of harming and chopping heads off and so on. So yeah, it's just it's absolutely pathetic. But anyway, so we've Muhammad, who is the pattern of conduct. Guess what? White Muslim guy. According to the Quran, Muhammad is the pattern of conduct. Muhammad did something, that is your pattern. That's what you're supposed to be looking at as your pattern. Did you know that ChatGPT is not your pattern of conduct in Islam? And that if ChatGPT says something that contradicts Muhammad's example, ChatGPT is completely irrelevant and would lose its head in an Islamic society if it had one. So anyway, let's go back and watch that original clip. Now that we've seen Ali Dawah, Muhammad Hijab, Daniel Hakikachu, and read multiple hadiths and what the Quran says about child marriage, and everyone can tell us what they think about this guy's answer. How correct is he?
Hey ChatGPT, does Islam allow you to marry children today?
Islam does not allow child brides today. Marriage in Islam requires consent, maturity, and the ability to fulfill responsibilities. Most Muslim countries set legal marriage ages, and scholars agree that marriage should happen only when both are mature and ready. Islam emphasizes justice and protection, aligning with ending child marriage.
If you're an Islamophobe, just because you say it doesn't mean it's true. Sorry, Charlie.
That's right, Islamophobe. Quran and the
Quran
hadiths.
And hadith.
They're all Islamophobic.
And Daniel Hakikachu and Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab and every knowledgeable Muslim scholar who's ever existed. This guy got ChatGPT to share its thoughts from some absolutely ridiculous Muslim Dawah site. And that's it. That's all that matters. That's sorry, Allah and Muhammad, you've been completely humiliated.
Allah is an Islamophobe.
This is wild stuff, man.
Can you put my study on the screen?
Can I?
For people who want to claim that, well, Aisha was an adult at that age. No, very, very unlikely. In fact, girls today are maturing quicker than they were in the pre-modern era. And if we just scroll down here, we just read all this stuff here, look at the charts here. Here, I even have a line here just so you can see. So 20,000 years ago, girls were maturing much faster. Psychosocial maturation was matching, basically entering the age of puberty. And this is roughly, give or take, the age of menarche. So about 20,000 years ago, girls were reaching menarche a little bit over the age of 10. Then 2,000 years ago, due to agricultural settlement, more nutrition, it increases. So it actually is coming in at about looks like about 13 or 14. And then during that time, it continues to go up, and it's about 15 or so. And then in the present, when we have better nutrition, it goes back down to where it was 20,000 years ago. So Muhammad would have lived sometime in this area here. Aisha would not have reached her period. 2,000 years ago, the earliest girls were reaching the age of menarche, getting their first period, was after the age of 10. When did Aisha marry Muhammad? Or when did Muhammad consummate the marriage with Aisha? 9. There's no biological way she could have actually had her first period, reached the age of menarche about 1,400 years ago. That was the average was happening around 14 or so, around there. So no, it was not.
I wouldn't say impossible because there are ranges, but what you just pointed out actually lines up with what's in the Muslim sources. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani believes that Aisha still hadn't reached puberty by the time she was around 15 because she was still playing with dolls then. So what you just said actually lines up, that it's happening a little older than it is now. So, what do we think of this powerful dawah, guys? Like completely contradicts everything we read in the Muslim sources, and as long as you say it in a completely condescending way, you Islamophobe, you Islamophobes. That's all you need to impress the dawah fans, and that's that says something about dawah fans.
He did a crappy video where he tried to argue there was child marriage in Christianity, and he cited like one marriage or like this marriage in France. ChatGPT told him that like this marriage happened when the girl was 6. I looked it up. Yeah. She was actually 22 years. Yeah, she was actually 22 years older than the guy she married. So ChatGPT got it wildly wrong. Said that she was just a 6-year-old or something. I looked it up. She was actually like full-grown adult, and she was marrying someone who was a young person.
There is one that's Queen Isabella, but there's like 1,000 Queen Isabellas. But there was one who was married when she was 6. All you have to do is go to any article on it. It would say it was a political marriage, and marriage was never consummated because it was just arranged politically, and she was too young. It specifically says she was too young, and therefore the marriage was never consummated. It's like that's the example that you guys use to show that it's okay for Muhammad to actually have sex with a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
Hey,
No,
here was a political marriage.
Yeah, he brought up Rosala of Italy, who married Robert II of France, but Rosala was older than Robert. But that was like his big thing to go to. Like, it
hang
just
on,
shows
let's
you
go.
he didn't
Let's go and watch. If that's this other video you sent, let's go ahead and check it out.
No, I sent you a different one, I believe. I didn't send you mine.
He does bring up some examples. I didn't pay close attention, but when I was getting the video ready, I saw him saying something about that. So let's go ahead and check it out. Muhammad and Aisha. Here we go. Here we have our good friend whose channel is White Muslim Guy asking about Muhammad and Aisha. Going to give some powerful dawah.
Hey ChatGPT, did Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, really marry a 9-year-old?
Yes, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, married Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, when she was 6, and the marriage was consummated when she was 9. This was entirely normal and acceptable for 7th century Arabia.
Prove that.
Look at this. I love these facial expressions. Like, dude, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's again, this is what works with the Dawah fans. As long as you just act shocked. It's so weird and so pathetic. It's like, I don't use the word cringe a bunch, but I assume this is where you're supposed to use the word cringe. Mm-hmm. So, it was totally normal to marry a 6-year-old?
No, not what I found, no.
Yeah, the earliest that's all I'm saying is, like, if you're going to make that claim, show us where you're getting that claim.
No. I'm not saying it's illegal or something like that. I'm saying, was that the average age? Is that just totally, when you say totally normal, it sounds like everyone's doing it and it's just a normal part of life. No, the earliest I can find is Jews living in Babylon in the 1st century married girls around 12 or 13. And that was much lower than Jews in Palestine, which were marrying in their late teens. So, but no, I cannot find any culture that was just a normal thing to be marrying girls off at 9. Like, those were exceptional cases when they happened, and they were mostly done for like political alliances or family alliances. And often they included stipulations like no consummating the marriage till she's an adult.
Yeah. So what you have here is basically, guys, we don't have a lot of records from pre-Islamic 7th century Arabia to make these kinds of claims. So what ChatGPT is doing is it's getting its information from some Dawah site that made the claim without evidence. So I'm saying, what is the actual evidence for the claim that this is just totally normal back then? Because historically, the most common thing is people are waiting until at least after puberty, if not beyond it. And so the idea that in Arabia, everyone's just going around having sex with prepubescent girls, I'd be interested in what your evidence is for. Muhammad had sex with a prepubescent girl. The Quran allows sex with prepubescent girls. I'm saying, what is your evidence that was just normal, even like for the population before Islam? So that's one issue. Another big issue here is, think about his defense. His defense is, but it's normal there. Suppose we grant it's normal. Does normal mean it's good? I'm asking that because these same Muslim apologists will say, female infanticide was normal in 7th century Arabia, but Muhammad came and fixed it because it was wrong. It's like, wait a minute, but it was normal. I thought if something is normal in a population, then it's fine and you can't criticize it. That's the rule. That's the rule he's using, right? Yep, if something is normal, you can't criticize it. What are you talking about? What was drinking alcohol normal before Muhammad came along?
Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So you can't say it's wrong because it's normal, right? So guys, you can't just defend it by saying, but it was normal at the time. Something can be normal and still be immoral. It can still be wrong. So the question is it wrong? What do you think, IP? Is having sex with a prepubescent girl immoral? Or is it just our difference of opinion or something?
It is definitely immoral and should never happen.
I would agree. And why? Mm-hmm. It's harmful. It's harmful to the girl. It's harmful, right? Mm-hmm. All sorts of problems arise when you allow grown men to have sex with prepubescent girls. But let's go ahead and let this guy.
Many other societies throughout history, including Christian ones, marriageable age was determined by biological maturity and societal norms, not by modern standards. Here are past examples from Christian history that prove this was not unique to Islam. 1. King Richard II of England married Isabella of France when she was 6 years old.
Never consummated.
What's that? Yeah.
Never consummated.
Guys, did you catch this? Here we go.
King Richard II of England married Isabella of France when she was 6 years old in 1396.
1396. Guys, think about how stupid this is, because it's for about a million different reasons. Just look at a couple. So 1, never consummated. They never had sex. It was a politically arranged marriage. He was not interested. She's a little girl. They never consummated. He eventually died, and she went off and married someone else. Is that a good response to Muhammad had sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl? No. Does he give you any of that information to make an informed decision about whether this is a relevant response? Absolutely not. That's one issue. 2, suppose, hypothetically, that a king had sex with a 6-year-old girl at some point. Would we, would we therefore say it's okay?
No, never.
No, we'd say he's wrong. And if it's someone that far in the past, we might be sort of sympathetic and say, okay, maybe you didn't know that it's actually harmful. Maybe you didn't know that this is bad. So we can cut you some slack for not being aware of it. Now we know that it's harmful. Now we have greater responsibility for avoiding that sort of practice. That's what would happen. We wouldn't say, oh, well, the king in 1396 had sex with a 9-year-old girl, so that means it's good. Did that king drink alcohol? I guess that's fine. Did he eat pork? I guess that's fine. Where do you guys get this idea that if someone in the past did something, you have to grant that it's okay? You don't think like that until you're defending Muhammad, and then suddenly anyone else you can point to in all of history, you go extreme whataboutism. Well, what about this guy in 1396 that did it? Now you can't condemn it. I most certainly can.
And he's not, King Richard is not our pattern of conduct.
That's
he's
the
not
third
a
thing.
Prophet.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a prophet either. Like, what do you want?
Uh-huh. And so we wouldn't, that's the thing. If he did something wrong, we would say it's wrong. We don't say, oh, he did it, so it must be okay, and we have to say it's fine. What level of idiotic thinking do you have to say anyone in the past who did anything, you now have to grant that it's okay and acceptable?
Yeah, and they'll be like, well, they'll be like, Thomas Aquinas said it was okay. Thomas Aquinas isn't a biologist or a child psychologist. He's not an expert on those topics. And actually, if you look at the source, he may not even have said it because it's from a source that he only partially wrote. So it's like it's the worst arguments I've ever seen.
Terrible. And this is all Dawah. This is like, guys, this guy's given this response. Guess what? Any Dawah guy you go to is going to give the same response. But what about Queen Isabella, who was 6? And what's absolutely amazing is even if you correct them on that, they'll still go out and use the same response. So guys, think about this so far. Muhammad, the pattern of conduct in Islam, the one who sets the moral tone for all future generations. His example is that he had sex with a prepubescent girl. The responses we have are, oh, but it was totally normal at the time, and therefore you can't criticize it. 1, I need to see evidence that it's totally normal at the time. 2, if I did see evidence, I wouldn't conclude that it's okay. I would conclude that you had a really sick entire culture that is going around with grown men having sex with prepubescent girls. I would say sick, disgusting, evil culture. That's what I would say. 2, his response is, oh, but if a king marries a girl, even without consummating it, that actually shows that you have to affirm it as okay. On what planet? And 3, of course, which one of these kings is a pattern of conduct for us? They're not. That's why if we heard about him saying, we'd say they're wrong. Again, you might not know. You might not know that it's harmful. And so we could say, okay, you were in a state of ignorance. You didn't know that this was bad. We do. So here's the thing. You could say he's ignorant. A king in the 14th century could be ignorant and not know something. Even though, guess what? He wasn't. He knew, do not touch that girl. She's too young. You catching this? Mm-hmm. This is a random king who's not our pattern of conduct, and he is massively more moral than Muhammad. He's saying, that girl is too young to have sex with. I'm not going to have sex with her. And he never did. He never did. She went and married someone else eventually. So this is supposed to show us that Muhammad is okay in all this, right? So guys, this is like what is being said that is an actual legitimate defense of anything that Muhammad did, anything we're talking about. Nothing. Dawah is all deception. It's smoke and mirrors. He doesn't tell you any of this stuff to make an informed decision. He's acting, you Islamophobes, you've been refuted. This is pathetic, man. This is absolutely pathetic. And this is what is popular in Dawah. And again, guys, this isn't just him. You could go to any Dawah guy. They're going to give you the exact same responses. What about Queen of the Billah? What about that? Oh, this refutes you. This is pathetic, man. All right, let's let him finish here.
Hugh Capet's son, Robert II, the Pious, married Rala of Italy when she was about 8 years old. 3.
False.
Saint Agnes.
False. She was 38. She was 38.
You're only
He
off
was
by
like
38.
17.
You're only off by 30
only
years.
off by 30 years, yeah.
Okay, good.
Rome, a venerated Christian saint, was betrothed at around 12 years old before her martyrdom.
Betrothed. That doesn't even sound like consummation.
And that's happened before Constantine, mind you. We're talking about a pagan culture at that point.
And it's even here, betrothed at 12. Betrothed at 12.
Europe in the Middle Ages, child marriages were common. This wasn't exploitation. It reflected the realities of their world.
And you just said no? And keep in mind,
according to Kim Phillips, I mean, they were marrying in their late teens to early 20s.
Late teens to early 20s is what the actual research shows, ladies and gentlemen. What happens in these videos? They'll say child marriage because they mean children by today's standard of 18 years old. Younger than 18 years old is a child. And they'll say, you see, they had child marriage. But again, it's similar to equivocation that you're changing the meanings of terms. When we're talking about Muhammad and Aisha, we're talking about prepubescent girls. We're not talking about, she was 3 days before 18 or something like that. We're talking about prepubescent, serious bodily harm to girls who go through this. And this, but this is the defense. All right, let's go ahead and let him finish here.
The fixation on Prophet Muhammad's marriage ignores the global historical context. Judging ancient practices by today's norms is intellectually dishonest as societies evolve.
Why is it Muslims get heat for marrying a child 1,400 years ago, but the thousands of Christians that did it get off scot-free?
Because Muhammad is your pattern of conduct. None of those Christians are. And so it doesn't apply. This is a false analogy for people who don't actually read and they just go to ChatGPT, tell me what I'm supposed to think.
And yeah, so dude, you seriously don't get why would Muhammad, who is the pattern of conduct for Muslims around the world, and that Muslims look to now to define what is and is not appropriate conduct, why would you be more concerned about him and not about some king from 800 years ago who has no impact, who no one on the planet takes as a pattern of conduct, and then who you're lying about anyway? This is Dawah. It's deception from beginning to end, and the only requirement is say it all in a massively condescending manner. Ha ha, what a bunch of idiots. Ha ha ha. Because that's the only thing your fans are looking for. Do you sound like you're arrogant? If you sound like you're arrogant, then you're right. This is pathetic. So anyway, but the big takeaway here, white Muslim guy, the big takeaway here, why would we look back at someone, let's suppose it did happen. So instead of Queen Isabella at 6 never being touched and the marriage never being consummated because he said, wow, she's too young, I'm not touching that girl, and she doesn't have sex until she gets married the second time, her second marriage. Suppose a king had sex with a 6-year-old girl. We would look back at that and say, gross, that's wrong. And under no circumstance are we going to say, therefore, it's fine to do because that king did it. It's not going to happen. But we could understand, maybe he didn't know any better. Maybe it was in a different time. We know better. Therefore, we are morally responsible. Okay. Maybe he didn't know. We know. Therefore, we are morally responsible. Okay. Does Allah know? Does Allah in the Quran, when he reveals Surah 65, verse 4, which says you can marry, have sex with, divorce, and pass on to the next guy, girls, all before they've ever reached the age of puberty. Did Allah know what we know today when he revealed that and said it's fine in his eternal Quran that still applies today and is supposed to apply for until the end? Did he know? Did he know? Or is he ignorant? A king in the 14th century can be ignorant. Are you saying that Allah was ignorant about how harmful child marriage is?
Yeah,
that's what you have to say.
Yeah. I mean, child marriage is incredibly harmful. I mean, it causes fistulas. You can cause early death because the hips have not widened enough to birth a child. There was a study done in Latin America that found that if you were 15 and under, you were 4 times more likely to die in childbirth than if you were 16 or older. And again, that's going to get worse the younger you go. So like a 15-year-old's going to have a better chance than like a 13, and a 13 better than a 12. But it also comes with all sorts of mental disorders just from and then these poor girls raise children and they don't have the social skills to raise children. So their children grow up deficient. And then we're talking about child marriage also correlates with increased rates of intimate partner violence. So these poor girls are suffering from physical issues, mental issues, and then they're getting hit as well by these men who are preying on them. So like there's no justification for this practice at all.
This is really, 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 really messed up, guys. You have serious problems in the world. You have Dawah guys out there defending child marriage because that's what their God and their prophet said is a fine, wonderful thing to do. Marrying, having sex with, divorcing, passing on to the next guy, girls, all before they've reached the age of puberty. You've got Dawah guys around the world defending it. And then when we bring it up and say, hey, this is actually a harmful practice, we get, well, what about Queen Isabella, whose marriage was never consummated? And it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all deception from beginning to end. And now they've just figured out ways of getting ChatGPT to help them to lie about these things and deceive people. Absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Absolutely. But that's Dawah. All right, man. Hey, it's getting kind of late for you. I don't know what time you go to bed, so you got to cut out. But I'm just going to go through the rest of these super chats. But if you want to go through these, we'll go through these. If you got to cut, let me know whenever you got to cut out.
All right, I'll give you like a couple more minutes. I gotta go eat some food.
Let's see. I don't know if I read this one earlier. IP got exposed. He's actually a robot.
You see?
I heard the backpack today. No Quran or Hadith verses. It gave me Bible verse, John 14:6. Jesus said to him, I'm the way, the truth, and life. No one comes to the Father except through me. You don't have the backpack, man. D-Wood and IP, also AP. Any of these topics possible for streams or debates soon? The Crusades, comparative eschatology, Abrahamic, Bart Ehrman. Also, D-Wood, where can we see your debate with Alex O'Connor? The debate is going to be, I think, streamed for people who get the conference, but we'll be releasing it sometime after that. I think he said about a week later or something like that. We're all going to release it on our channel. So nice. I think you can pay to do the virtual conference, Ruslan's virtual conference, but you don't need to because it's going to be online after that. So it's basically if you want to see it instantly while it's happening. Some of the other topics, comparative eschatology, probably not. Bart Ehrman, probably not. Crusades, maybe. Could always get Raymond Ibrahim back on for a bit because guy's interesting, knows a lot of stuff. Most useful AI is Notebook. How many AIs are there? Everyone's got a different name. It is Google's service that gives you references, books, paper, videos, etc., and summarizes them.
Most used Notebook. I'm gonna look that one up because that's what I need. I need references.
That looks like something. That looks like something. Yeah, I'm saying that looks like something I'd be more interested in. I bet more Christians.
I might look this one up. Yeah.
I bet more Christians have actually read the Quran than actual Muslims. Also, thank you, IP. Your arguments have convinced me to check out a high Protestant church and partake in communion.
Excellent. Yes, real communion uses wine, and that's what I'm convinced from reading the Church Fathers.
Wrong. It's grape juice. White Muslim guy looks like descendant of Lebanese. I have no idea. But I mean, think about it. He's even advertised white Muslim. He just knows there's like this obsession. Oh, we got a white person. Oh my goodness, look, she's blonde. We will believe anything she says.
Powerful. Yes, so absolutely.
Weird. Hey, giving up $10 for Lent. Yes, everyone give up. Excellent. Everyone give me $10 for Lent. You got to give up that $10.
What did you give up for Lent, David?
Sleep.
I gave up liquor and chocolate.
Oh, that's why you're coherent.
Yeah, got me. Yeah.
Hi, if UK becomes Islamic in coming decades, do you think child marriage would be allowed or would Muslims rebel? Good to see you both.
They would definitely allow child marriage. They'd start lowering that age for sure.
They will. You think Allah will give Muhammad will get virgin men in Jannah after the Cave of Hira incident? Yeah, Muhammad wants all his virgin men, but they're not going to be virgins for long if they're around Muhammad. My baby goat showing signs of maturity. Penetration is not the only thing a man can do to a little girl. There are many other acts to consider, things he can do to the child and things he can force her to do to him. Yeah, we know that. We don't need that info. Christian apologist pastor in India, Praveen Pagadala, who deals with topics on Hinduism, Islam, killed yesterday. Pray for justice. Yes, I saw someone mention that earlier, but they just mentioned the name. They didn't mention that he's an apologist or a pastor. So yeah, I'll check that out.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm reading the Bible and don't have Christian friends, so I want to ask you, why did Jesus curse the fig tree in Matthew 21:18-22? The metaphorical meaning seemed like a bit of a stretch to me. No hate, by the way. I think it's obvious what's going on.
So,
what are your thoughts?
I mean, he's using it as a teachable moment to show them what's going to happen in Jerusalem.
That's how I interpret it,
Yeah, he's doing that for that reason. And also the fig trees actually bore like early fruits before they even bud. And so like there were these tiny little fruits on those trees around that season. And he went to it expecting fruit on there that wasn't on there. So he's like, all right, he's also human. So he probably was angry. He was hungry, but he uses it as a teachable moment for his disciples to use as an analogy for the destruction of the temple that's coming.
Yeah, so guys, it's basically the two interpretations are Jesus sees a fig tree, goes over there, nothing on it, and then curses it and so on, and then but uses that as a teachable moment, or that was a plan all along, right? Like, hey, I'm going to teach these guys about, because he says a lot about like bearing fruit and so on, and so the idea is, hey, I want an image that sticks in these guys' heads forever, and to show them there's divine power behind the idea that you need to bear fruit or it's not going to work out well for you. And so the idea is that he did that on purpose. But yeah, I don't know. If you have a terrible problem with a tree dying, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Let's see. What are your thoughts on Great Dan, the unbiased, claiming that monotheism isn't in the Bible?
Oh, he's talking about Dan McClellan. I believe that's what he's doing, unless there's another Dan. But so I take Michael F. Bird's book, Jesus Among the Gods, on this. And basically what it is that the Bible's focusing on monolatry and there's implicit monotheism in it as we would understand it. But the word Elohim, Michael Heiser also talks about this, doesn't really translate as God. It translates as divine being or spiritual being. So like Samuel is called an Elohim at one point after he died. Demons are called Elohim. False gods are called Elohim. Angels are called Elohim. Anything in the spiritual realm can be an Elohim, but Yahweh is a unique Elohim. He's above all. So yes, there are multiple Elohim, but you should really only worship Yahweh, who is the high creator God, and that's monolatry. But it also comes with implicit monotheism. So it's there. It's just not in our language. The Bible was written for us, not to us.
As a former programmer, AI is like any other piece of software that has GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. That's what it seems like based on the answers.
Yeah.
IP, stop using earpods, cause brain tumors.
No.
I doubt that. D-Wood, have you looked into the protests in Turkey? Do you think the protests in Turkey are similar to Iran? Both protests led by people sick of Islam. I mean, they're ticked off about Erdogan. I don't know about the numbers. Like in Iran, it's like most of the population, right? Most of the population is being oppressed by a tiny minority of Shia religious extremists. I don't know what the actual percentages are in Turkey as far as how many people or what percentage of the population is against the leadership, but it's something to follow. They're not dumb. They're making us exhaust ourselves. Yeah, I guess that's right. But you just got to keep up. If she says, if she doesn't say no, it means she really wants it. That's exactly how pedos justify what they do. Yeah, and that's the idea in Islam. How do we tell if this little girl who has no clue what's going on consents to this 50-some-year-old guy banging her? Well, if she keeps her mouth shut because her dad said, hey, you're marrying this guy, now keep your mouth closed, then she consents, and that's it. He's not white as my prophet Muhammad. He needs better leather straps. His shocked face looks like how Diha looked when he saw Muhammad. That'd be good, just taking a picture of his shocked face, and it said Diha's Diha when he saw Muhammad coming up. Is it normal for young people to clean body fluids off of clothes of elders? Doesn't the Quran say she also cleaned fluid off his clothes before this? Chomos are deceived. What a bunch of garbage. Yes. Passages about her washing it off, scraping it off, scratching it off. It's just endless scrubbing of semen stains off Muhammad's clothes. He needed to stay away from Diha. It was common for European kings and queens to marry for political and truce reasons, even if they never consummated. That is correct. And that's what happened with Isabella. IP, while in Australia, try catch an AFL match.
No.
What the heck is that? AFL.
It's like it's like Australian football, I believe.
Wait, isn't that going to be soccer though?
No, it's like a different game. I don't know.
Is it real football? Like American football?
No, it's not real football. It's different. It's different. It's horrible.
Weird. Yeah. Islamophobes not normalize pedophilia, guys. What is it? What does HDY stand for?
I don't know.
Islamophobes not normalize pedophilia. Bought a copy of the Book of Mormon, and he walked the Americas because of the Dr. Falk stream just to read the ridiculousness myself. Book of Abe next.
Yeah. It's
peace, brothers. Peace, brothers. Good night. Good night. And got 2 more. Thanks for calling this out, guys. But also, will you please stop calling it sex with a child and call it grape? Well, you've got an algorithm that's listening to us at all times, and if you say if you say lots of words like that and you keep saying it, if we just said it every time we're talking right now, you can mess around and get child restricted and stuff like that. So
pretty much,
you try to tone down your language. That's why we'll often say grape instead of anyway. And Joseph Smith was also a Freemason before starting Mormonism. They have some rites that are similar. Temple of Satan. Hey, did you know that not guilty in original Chinese characters is a lamb being killed? Be blessed. Not guilty in original Chinese character as a lamb. Oh, is a lamb being killed. Interesting. Huh. And then last one here. Gaza is protesting again tomorrow against Hamas. You won't hear this on Al Jazeera, only here. Free Palestinians from Hamas. Yeah, it's a weird situation because just because they're protesting Hamas does not mean they're peaceful, nice guys. You have a lot of people with sick views and a lot of people who have allegiance to other groups and so on. And so it doesn't mean the protesters are great people. But at the same time, it does take some guts to stand up against Hamas because Hamas just executes people who stand against them. So and at the end of the day, we all want Hamas gone. And so hopefully, the people are successful in ousting Hamas, and hopefully it leads to some kind of improvement in the situation. And it would, even if these guys are every bit as radical as Hamas and they just, think that Hamas is going about it in a stupid fashion or something like that. Hamas not making it through this war is good. It's a good message to future generations that you're not going to get away with this stuff. So, yep. Hopefully good things happen. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump off here. I don't think I'll be live again until my debate because I'll be, tomorrow I'll be getting ready and packing and stuff like that. And then I'm flying out Thursday morning. So.
He's terrified to go live. Dawah will destroy him.
I know. I would be humiliated. But guys, so guys, think about it. The Dawah guys will not engage with us anymore, and Dawah is now just Lily J and that white guy using ChatGPT to lie to us. This is where we're at. These are good times, ladies and gentlemen. It sucks and it can be discouraging that it's just like this. Seriously, people fall for this idiotic nonsense. This is actually good. If you look at the trajectory, people are catching on, and that's why they're getting more desperate. So these are good times, and there will be more good times ahead. All right. Catch y'all soon. Should have a video up in the morning. If you're not subscribed to Mike Jones' Inspiring Philosophy channel, definitely go there. Link is in the description box. Catch y'all next time. Oh, wait. Hey, sorry. Had one last super chat there. I didn't want to leave. This religion is proof that people can be conditioned into becoming PDFs, which is interesting. Yeah, so you have people who are going to be that regardless, and you have people who are like borderline, whereas if they were kind of pushed away from it, they wouldn't. But if you say it's okay, they will, and that's the problem. That's a problem.
Absolutely.
That is an ongoing problem. All right, glad we got to that. Catch you all next time.